And I mean, against Mystical Space Typhoon, we already have a way to play.
Oh, there's
and
by.
Wow, and this is also heartbreaking because in your mind you're like... really have to have pure, just the only one card I cannot negate with the call by, you know. But yeah, this seems like it will be a mess because Julius again has played it well. He's reading his own.
Yeah, just making sure.
He has enough targets, I guess. Maybe, yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he read if he would special summon the other, but yeah. I mean, now he knows the last card available is the Mystical Space Typhoon.
Because the difference is that the effect of Yummy monsters that are special summoned with the first effect of Yummy Capsi,
but here,
Lollipop, Yummy are negated, while with the second effect they have...
It is the confirmation. I'm happy for another reason, because as you guys might have noticed since the last few events, we have a backup future match ready, and we picked a crazy one. I'm just gonna say that. I'm actually gonna go there because it's an exciting one for sure, and I would really like to get a chance to see some of that in action. But what can we say about this round? I mean, Julius just straight up dominating.
And this is what Yamin brings to the table, right? Having the opportunity to interact with opponents, quick play spells, meaning that you can just tag out your synchro motions into breaking all those answers from the graveyard. And just to explain what happened, Mystical Space Typhoon activated on the field spell. However, Surprise has a second effect that enables you to bounce back the field spell and reactivate it from the hand.
But yeah, as mentioned, we can focus maybe on this match later on the post-match analysis. So for now, I would say let's jump into our backup future match. And it's Gladiator Beast K9 against, as you can see, Fiendsmith Chimera. What a match lining up. And Gladiator Beast is 1-0. I told Alberto at the start of the year, although I was referring to Time Wizard format, that this would be the year of the GB. Maybe I was right, but for a different format. And I'm excited to see some Gladiator Beast action here. Why is yes dormant?
You had the feeling, but you didn't know exactly which format, right?
Yes.
I have to change again now my deck for Time Wizard, right? Because, you know.
Yes, and I mean, it's fitting since, as Ed showed you guys quickly, when they were rolling the dice, we have an exciting collection of artifacts for this weekend, and one of them was the Rescue Cat, my favorite, which you can see also in our social media content. I was walking through the hall, so I'm excited to see some good old Gladiator Beast here, and again it looks great. We might have another 2-0 here at the start. Wow.
I mean, Gladiator Beast has definitely changed from the first YCSs that we have experienced, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like me, I have experience with Time Wizard Gladiator Beast, and I leave it to Nicolas, honestly, for what's his Dortmund 2026?
La Pantara. Here is the Test Panther, bringing along...
Test Tiger might have changed through the years, right?
Yep.
Yeah, from a tiger it became a panther, you know? You never know.
And here, as we can see, yeah, Gladiator Beast is not anymore just a fusion deck. It can play a lot of powerful link monsters.
Is TJ left a top deck? Like, does he have anything in hand?
Maybe not. Maybe not. I mean, it's tough to say, but...
Bring a quest onto the field. Come on, let me see it 16 years later. I know you want to do it.
El bestiario.
Eccolo. Yes.
Here it comes.
You think
do
that
it.
Boku is still relevant?
Maybe.
Wow. Ah, yeah, they're
Oh, yeah,
mixing,
they're mixing,
the
yeah.
two zones. I guess we do have a left
For the
over
third
here.
time, see it again. And
He's back.
He teases you.
No, he changed his mind.
he changed it last
Alberto.
minute.
Now.
But, okay,
Now.
okay, fair.
Now. Oh, a change of mind. Once more. I see Chariot, I see Bestiari. There are good OG GBs in there. And here it is, a quest.
Okay, I mean, it's yeah, it was. Oh, okay,
No.
but looks like
Never mind.
yeah, that was his first choice, and I think this is Atorix. I think so. And he essentially one summon you can send one little beast monsters from your deck or extra deck to the graveyard, and the level of the monsters gets increased. But yeah, I mean, a quest maybe would have been better.
So just love a quest.
Yes.
Yeah,
be fair.
I mean, I love it. Yeah, he could have also recovered something from his
No,
graveyard.
it seems like it will be a top deck battle here.
Oh, okay, some damage.
Let's see. Let's see. Off the top, what TJ can find.
I mean, we play Finsmith in our deck. We just need an engraver.
Yeah, maybe
or a
the
Drat.
graveyard is active, but yeah, it seems like both players are
Yeah.
completely gassed out. It seems like, is it a spell? Let's see. I kind of want to see a full game free, I'm not gonna lie, but
Ooh. Speaking of Finsmith,
What did he?
ay, ay, ay.
This is also a card that we haven't seen in a while.
yes, every hero adjusted gold right now. It is utilized because it is a light fiend in order for us to access the Finsmith engine, but also it can attack through the SP Little Knight.
Yeah, it's 2100.
Fair enough.
But
But it cannot attack unless we control a fusion monster.
Yeah,
yes.
it cannot. But I mean, pretty good draw. I mean, fun enough. Usually don't plan on normal summoning this card too much, but just worked out. We are not using our Little Knight yet.
And I think this is might be our last chance to activate Little Knight, right?
Yeah, the graveyard was completely empty actually. So that was
it could have
quite
been,
a good draw.
Yeah.
And if engraver is on the field, we can actually threaten the SP Little Knight. So I think that we need to activate the effect of SP Little Knight right now. Yes.
Yeah.
Teste.
Makes sense, but well, it would be a tight one. Because
Otherwise, engraver could attack over.
are we sure about summoning in defense against Gladiator Beast? But let's see.
You're scared of Laquari?
No, just in general, they can tag
Yeah,
out
they
some
can tag.
of
I
them,
mean,
no?
they can.
I mean,
draw.
anyways, you will have Lacrima. Let's see, big draw. Can we see this request that Alberto has been teasing? Is it Proving Ground? I see a spell. Oh, what?
So,
What?
Lacrima was
What
in
is
a
this
diagonical
position?
position.
Sì, Dragonical, sì. They're facing each other, Lacrima and...
I mean,
It's a balance
just saying.
Yeah,
if
it's
you-
a date. It's a date here, you see?
Just saying, if he had
No!
summoned the quest, the turn before now, he would have had a monster to attack over.
Yeah.
So,
But, I mean,
Oof,
we really
and
wanted
that's just a
Lacrima to be in the
pass.
graveyard right now.
Yeah, honestly, you might as well just not attack over it. And yeah, unfortunately, it seems
O
like
Hero-
Nicholas did not pick up what he
O
needed.
Hiro tá
and
dando.
Yeah,
Pra quem
Okay.
não tava desde o início,
So it was end phase, so Requiem cannot activate the effect.
o
However,
Yumi
it can still activate the effect on
na primeira
his
mesa
turn.
de
And I think
verdade, na
that move with
stream
all
mesmo,
these,
que essa é a mesa 2.
It seems
Finsmith in the field.
Ele deu um OTK num
we don't use
Death
it.
Type.
I think also this was the chance to use the
Little Knight.
SP, no?
I mean, we just
I mean, you
make
can do it
engraver into
now.
attack position and attack.
But we could also here summon another engraver and just go like into Caesar, for example. Instead, we still don't use the SP. Wow.
Yeah, at this stage in time, it may be complicated, honestly. Yeah?
Oh, and what a draw.
What a draw. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, Nicolas smiling. At least the really good news is that he is 1-0. So there is still plenty of time since our first match lasted only few minutes. And so we might get to see some Gladiator Beast combos into the next game. We're linking off.
Or
All right.
synchro summoning.
No.
Into chaos.
Okay, this gets to resolve also surprisingly, I'd say. Yeah, and here comes
We play two copies of
Eu
Behemoth
vou colocar a câmera lá pra
because I think we
cima.
use as a material Behemoth in the graveyard, right?
Onde tá aqui tá bom. Não tapa tanto
I mean, we should
câmera.
probably check this out because I think that
E eu sou
Behemoth
menos
from the
We do,
graveyard.
we play two.
aqui.
We play two?
Yeah, we play two.
Play.
We do. Look at the deck list, not
Porque senão não dá
me.
pra ver a cara de baixo, que desespero de
Yes.
estar perdendo pra Hiro.
Yeah. Okay. And yep. Now finally it seems like it was time, but yeah, this is a bit too late to activate the IP. We're gonna lose out on it soon enough, and I think Nicolas has seen the writings on the wall. He picked up his cards, which means score is tied.
Aqui na mesa
1-1. And we're gonna get to see some more
Yami
GB
deu
action.
TK.
Count me in for it.
no
With the hand of the
deck de
heart.
Radiante.
Which
tá?
deck do you want to win?
Ainda não deu a
I mean,
segunda
I'm not
partida
gonna
por algum
jinx it,
motivo.
but you know, I'm a fan of Gladiator Beast. No, but I mean, I really feel like in general, seeing the deck in action with newer and older cards in 2026
Pra
is
quem
for
tá
sure
chegando
something
agora,
that you know you gotta be
esse
loving, honestly.
é o
And
ICS
going
da
first as well, I
Alemanha.
think the deck has a lot of
Começou na
potential.
Alemanha, né?
Because you can essentially set up your
meio-dia
field. He's also
começa
playing
dos Estados
Solemns in
Unidos.
his side deck, just you know, to back it up. And maybe we will see a Gladiator Beast Jizarus being summoned or fusion summoned, I would say, thanks to Bestiari. Who knows? We will
Yeah.
be saying soon, but of course, like we will see Nicolas for sure putting the old Charmes out and siding in, like for example, he has Anti-Spell Fragrance. He has, you know, some cool cards that he can play. I really feel like here on the other side, his opponent TJ survived because he was left at top deck entirely,
Yeah.
and thanks to Fiendsmith and then the Gorn, he was able to put it back in action. And as mentioned, I think over the last few YCSs, we have always seen a lot of different decks, especially in day one, and I really feel like this will be the trend also for the day. You know, of course, also yesterday in the meta deck discussion, we talked about the variety and the potential of a lot of decks and how this can be mixed up. And this is also the case because our two duelists here are playing, for example, Fiendsmith cards and mixed up with Chimeras. And on the other side, we have, you know, K9s with Gladiator Beasts. So, very interesting to see. Yeah.
I think the point of the meta right now is how you can mix different engines with each other, how they can bridge the one engine to the other, and I feel like it is one of those YCSs that it really goes to the thing that how you can find the best synergy between the decks.
Yeah, and I mean sometimes it's also a matter of playing your pet deck, the one you're comfortable with, and just go alongside it. And yeah, I think it's time that we find out who is gonna go and join Julius with the one win in round one, advancing and staying undefeated, at least for a round. So let's figure it out who is going to win this game 3.
Eles vão mostrar a mesa de Hiro de novo.
Here they are. Tension is palpable.
So we are talking about some clarifications right now, and I probably think that Gladiator Beasts are going first, since right now it is one of those strategies that they really want to go first right now in order to enable to summon their monsters and obviously find access to the K9 engine. Speaking of the K9 engine, started with Noroi.
The best.
It is one of those cards that you really want to see going first.
Yeah, I mean, Noroi does so much if it gets to resolve. And I think we don't have any interruption, but...
I saw a big one.
We have one. Which might make the match a more even
Cara de
field.
Gladiator Beast.
You get what I mean.
Colocou canal no deck.
However, since Noroi can take a peek into the opponent's hand, we can actually find a way to play around the card that you mentioned.
You like to have a look, huh? I like to have a look, just understanding what is going on. Vediamo, let's see. Let's see.
Let's see, because you are absolutely right. Here we will see, we will know that there are no hand chops, but
let's have a look.
there is an evenly matched hiding in that hand.
So
TJ just clarifying, I mean, it's as simple as you just get to see it, you can't touch it, but you get to see the hand.
and this is where the power of Noroi really is. That
I mean,
having a look into your
now
opponent's hand, it is very important, especially with cards like, for example, evenly matched, that you know that is going to be activated in order for you to play around.
What's the plan? How do you play around evenly? Can you make Heraklinos?
SP.
Can you make it?
SP.
You see, I have the answer.
A bit weak. A bit weak. Il crocodillo. Let's see it.
Once again, it's come Atrix and Gistel.
Gistel. Un crocodillo. Ah no. Here it is. We are just summoning yet another fusion.
El Panteron.
El Panteron. Okay, so now we get to take a look at our deck and just add Noxious, I believe. Noxious,
yes.
L'Uomo Tigre. And yeah, this is amazing, but again, I'm wondering
How makes Heraklinos?
how to make Heraklinos. A quest is back. A quest for the joy of Albi. It's the field, gets to retrieve a spell and trap or a monster at that.
It's back.
He's back.
Gladiator Beast,
He's back,
comeback.
and he got the comeback. Equest is back again.
Os caras estão brincando na live.
And comeback. It's the field.
Falando que é o retorno dos
Look at this. If you were wondering how Gladiator Beast relied on one normal summon and that was it, operates.
Operates.
We can access Heraklion with plasma, no?
Plasma?
No, with Prisma.
Prisma.
No, Mike, I know you like Destiny Hero cards, eh? I know you do.
Destiny.
Destiny.
Elemental.
I mean, we experienced TJ before
About
having
Destiny.
the advantage
Yeah.
of Destiny.
That you could do, yeah. If it's
Or
cheap
every
and,
hero.
Ah,
precise.
even that.
Cannibalismo.
For sure.
here we summon back the
Darius.
quest, and as you can see, usually we are back to seeing Gladiator Beast trigger only when summoned from deck, but in reality, as you can see here, they get the effects even this way, and so a quest need to come back, and here it is, as predicted. Heraklinos, the way to play around evenly matched these amazing card from all the way back into the day. I think 2008, yeah, probably around that. It was already out. It could be older than some of our duelists competing this weekend, but here it is. And now this is a huge problem because that card is not once per turn. You can negate evenly and then you can negate the poly, and this is absolutely impressive.
This is insane because with the Domitianus on the field as well, you can negate an activation on an opponent's effect monster, El Domiziano.
Yes, it's basically the counterpart of Heraklinos. And look at that. I'm so happy that we picked this deck for round one. And oh well, it's gonna keep doing well.
With 4 cards in hand, honestly.
Izuna. We don't play the quick spell, it seems, because we didn't search for it, but we cannot right now. And finally, we do have the Colosseum for our joy, and we search the Chariot. And this is a classic combo. Like back in the day, Heraklinos plus Chariot was pretty much game. Because Heraklinos protects you from spell and traps, Chariots protects you from monsters, and that's pretty much game over. And the fact that this is still a combo in 2026 is great, and we even saw our opponent end. I think TJ might just be done.
This is so much combining better with Reaper and also Spiritual Knight give you so much advantage.
Yeah.
No, and also another option for Heraklinos for a card to stop is also attract.
Okay. Yes, and
Reaper on the engraver. I think he's using Domitianus here on the crop. I think it makes sense to use it, honestly.
Possibly. And I mean, regardless, what an impressive duel from Nicolas. What an opener. But yeah, this Nicolas rightfully so came to the conclusion that he doesn't really care. And I mean, he knows evenly, he knows poly, and most of the rest of, I'm pretty sure the only card he doesn't know is the second poly, which doesn't really make that much of a difference.
I mean, if we have cards in hand, it doesn't matter.
And here you can see TJ just scrambling to come up with something. And he was just looking to see, do I even have a target for this poly here? What can I do? I don't see it. I think we have 3 cards in hand. Yes, Nicolas has 3 cards. It means he can negate free spell and traps. And yeah, here comes the first one from Heraklinos. Discarding the Izuna even, I mean, which tells you enough.
Oh, that's it.
And as we mentioned,
and
we should not set a monster against Gladiator Beast, right?
That's right.
Wow.
That's a pass, and yeah, it's just a matter of third battle phase.
So you think it's a Raiko?
I mean, I don't think it makes much of a difference with the Chariot hiding face down. I think Nicolas has done an extremely good job. And wow. I mean, it's really refreshing to see such a, you know, unique underrepresented deck doing well. Yeah, I think here we just realized maybe we don't even have a target. And we can just attack, I think. I mean, that's plenty of damage.
Yeah, this is more than enough, honestly. Like, enter battle phase and...
yeah, just don't overthink it. You have Chariot. What do you even have to worry about? And the only thing we have to worry about are the illusion monsters, though. Because you know that you cannot destroy by battle, and maybe this is what Nicolas didn't take into consideration.
Mas não vai mais acontecer agora.
Yeah. I mean...
You bait him.
Mike, never trust my words. There is always something hiding in there. And yeah, you can see Nicolas face palming a bit. But I mean, it's all good. And here comes the Gizarus to get rid of that.
Oh my.
I mean, yeah, monsters that cannot be destroyed by battle were never considered good against Gladiator Beast. they were always a bit of a liability because it pretty much allows you to trigger all of your monsters. And wow, would you look at that?
No, but the timer editor is great because you can special summon once per turn one glider-based fusion monster from your extra deck, ignoring its summon conditions. So
Yeah, and here comes, yeah,
You wish that you had
another
that back in the
one.
day,
my
right?
dream. And here it is, the Claudius Big
Eusebio.
Salmon. Wow,
Here is
look at this field from Gladiator Beasts.
the boss monsters hit the field. And I mean, it was already a big issue before, and now with this polymerization, Heraklinos is just going to be negating one. Second one comes down and just gonna get negated as well. And there it is, another sand monster that cannot be destroyed by battle though.
You think now that Nicholas has the know-how, will think that the set monster is potentially something that cannot be destroyed
Yeah,
by
for
battle
sure.
in order
Yeah,
to
yeah.
access the Gizarus?
But the problem is, now we need to link off something, no?
What a problem.
Yeah, really. And here we do. Nicholas not gonna make the same mistake twice, goes straight into his extra deck. Because after this, he's gonna be able to summon the Gizarus, and yeah, this time he's not wasting, not using any effect, and now comes the Gizarus to swing for game. And here it is, fist bump, and it's Nicholas winning this round, and he even had a solemn judgment to pair this up. Wow, honestly.
Round of applause
Round
for
of applause
Gladiator
for the
Beast.
Gladiator Beast. Deserved,
I mean,
deserved.
2026, he showed us. I mean, I wish we had these starters in 2010. Honestly, it's insane, unbelievable. Like, would you ever said this that Gladiator Beast was this powerful with like all fusions and stuff?
I mean, Heraklinos with Judgment and Chariot feels like
Nothing
pretty
you
strong.
can ask for more. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, already two different matches in one round and two completely different strategies. You know, we saw Julius just playing it a bit safer, controlling with his entraps and this yummy Finsmith deck. And on the other hand, we had two pretty explosive combo decks battling one against each other. It will be interesting at the end of the day to obviously see, next to the country breakdown that we have shown you, how the deck breakdown will look for the event, considering we have over 2,600 players, so that will be a lot of different decks, I can tell you that
Primeira
much.
rodada
But of course,
do jogo
the spotlight
televisionado
for
é
now
sempre bem
is on the main
aleatório, né?
future match
Caiu
winner, the
Gladiator
current
Beast
technical even from
Chimera.
2023 YCS
Kent
Dortmund
Smith.
champion Julius. So
E o
let's hear
Gladiator
it
Beast
from him in
amassou
the
o Chimera.
post-match analysis with
É
Sam.
mesmo. Mas o Chimera perdeu no dado, né?
Thank you so much, Marcello. And indeed, I am joined by Julius Schwarzkopf, our reigning YCS Dortmund champion. Julius, that was a smooth start into the tournament, you could say, quick 2-0. How are you feeling? Because honestly, you're bringing something that you don't usually bring, because your deck cannot really be considered a combo deck that you're bringing today with that Fiendsmith Yami deck. How is that? Why are you not bringing a combo deck today?
I didn't feel like there was like a combo deck in the meta right now that fits my playstyle as well, because usually I also play decks that are not so common in the meta, and I think the only real combo deck is like some MST, Yummy Tri-Brigade piles, or like Lunar Light maybe.
Fair, yeah.
But I didn't feel like those were good enough in the meta right now, and I felt like a head-trip approach would be really good, and that's the reason why I decided to play this kind of deck.
Yeah. And you're not concerned about only having one Snatchy? Because that, of course, is the change to the Yummy deck that has been applied with the Forbidden and Limited list, now it being limited. Is that ever a problem for the deck, or is it, if you play it correctly, just always fine?
Yeah, I mean, going second, of course, it's sometimes a problem. If they can remove the first Snatchy, you have troubles getting it back. But especially if you go first and you can do your full combo, it doesn't really matter. You have so many ways of bringing it back. By the Synchro, you have your surprise set. You even have to buff him it in graveyard in case they banish it. So you have plenty of ways to get it back. So yeah, I think it's fun.
And there's one more special thing with your Yummy deck. We have not really seen that at all in the latest formats, but now the Yummy deck you're playing has changed a little bit, as it is now a Yummy Fiendsmith deck,
essa é a
and you have displayed your way
que eu
of
tava
bridging into the
falando.
Fiendsmith cards, which is Ripperdockers.
Que é
I think there is
Yumi
different
e
ways to go into
Radiant
Fiendsmith
Type.
currently in the format,
O
but you
Yumi
chose the
deu
Ripperdockers
OTK
approach.
no Radiant
Explain us about that,
Type na
really.
primeira
Yeah, I mean, I
partida.
think it's the most common one. It's the easiest one. You just need to
E aí eles pararam de
random bodies,
transmitir.
I guess,
de transmitir,
just turn
né?
them into the Reprodokus and then any yummy monster which is light, you can turn into a light fiend and get easy access to it. I think it's just mandatory because the pure Yummy deck doesn't have a good endboard
Mas
anymore.
aí, se o
Because of the
cara aí
Herald
tá
ban.
falando
Caesar is great.
diretamente
It's
com o cara,
also
é porque ele
water, which is
ganhou.
perfect to play around cards like
Então,
Super
o Yumi
Poli,
amassou
on
o
General
Radiant
China,
Typhoon.
whatever, all those type of cards. And of
Agora a
course also the
questão
Fiend Swift cards can get you
é
into
o
the Yummy
deck
cards. So
ou
they
quem
also
tava
start at the same
controlando.
time, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, you said your combo with Caesar and everything is just good in the end. And I gotta say, your combo then was different than what I expected, because you kept on going. We see now you summoned Baphomet off of Sequence, which is first of all not the usual fusion monster you're seeing, but that was one of your choice. And then here, as you're already continuing a combo, transforming it then into the Caesar. But now afterwards, there's some interesting stuff happening, which we're going to go through here. First of all, explain the SP Little Knight that you are going to summon eventually. I think here, yeah, here it is coming. Why SP Little Knight and why banishing the Lollipo specifically here in this scenario?
Yeah, so of course the Baphomet still has a graveyard effect. You can banish him and then special Beast, Beast Warrior or Winged Beast or Illusion, I think, from the bench pile. And through that, you can at any point, if you play against, for example, an MSC like I also did, you can
Cara,
banish the MSC
provavelmente
from the
ele
graveyard or
saiu
put it
sem
back
hand
at any
trap na
time.
mão.
And you're not relying on your surprise that can
Esse é o
target with
sem
MST
hand
or
trap.
your synchro. So it's another layer of interruption they can't really interact with.
So basically, what you did there in the match, I think you in the end, you just banished the Albion with the Lollipo. That's how it turned
Yeah, I
out.
returned it,
But
yeah.
your usual plan is, oh yeah, you returned it indeed. Your usual plan is just to get rid of the MST in the graveyard so that the Radiant Typhoon deck cannot really do what it's supposed to do.
Yeah, indeed, that's usually the plan, because you have through your field spell and most of the time 1 or 2 sets. Usually they're not able to get, they're not able to free all your
Mas
spell
esse
vessels,
range
so
trap
they
na
need the
mão,
MSC in
então
graveyard. And by removing it, it's
fazer
just
assistir
another
o
layer
cara
of
jogar.
interruption for free, basically.
Agora a segunda
Yeah, and we
partida
have to
eles
talk
não
about another
mostraram,
card
né?
on your end
Então,
field. Yeah.
fica uma incógnita aí
Muckraker
o que
is a
aconteceu
bit
na
of a
segunda
star
partida.
there as well,
Foi
because
2-1, foi
when did you
1-0 pra
realize
ele.
that this card might be a good addition to your end field? Because quite frankly, it hasn't any real powerful effect really that it's providing. It doesn't provide any interruption, but of course, you indeed showed in game 1 immediately what it does provide, because it did protect your Caesar from falling on the Virtues. What else is it protecting you from?
Yeah, so it's mainly Virtues, to be honest. Of course, there are all other kind of cards that destroy. And they're usually one-card combos. You need the effect of Muckraker to, at the end, also put the Caesar on the board. In this case, I had multiple names, so I didn't need the Muckraker effect at the end. But usually, it's just free Virtues protection. Your endboard does not give you any Omni negates. So protecting the Caesar from cards like Virtues is very valuable. So yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, speaking of that Virtues, the turn of Dennis started
daí
off
agora
quite
tá
strong,
mostrando
because
ali, ó.
we had quite the
Ele
quick play
tentou fazer uma
exchange here going
reação.
on, which is somewhat usual for the Radiant Typhoon deck.
Ele tá
We see
usando
the
a spell
Mystical
dos Brand, né?
Space Typhoon, we see the
Radiant
Fallen and the
Typhoon tá
Virtues.
conseguindo
And
utilizar
do you think Dennis
bastante.
knew about the Muckraker protection? Because he was just going after that Caesar, but he can't really do anything else, right? He just has to go for it.
Yeah, so he can't really do anything about it. He could have kept it. I probably think he probably forgot. I mean, I didn't use the effect of the Muckraker, so maybe he already thought, like, why did he summon the Muckraker? No, it has to have a second effect, right?
For sure, for sure.
So I'm not sure if he knew about it, but at the end it doesn't really matter where he uses his Virtues, because you have such a layered board, and he needs all his breakers to break your board. And then you still have your hand traps, right? We play a lot of hand traps in the main deck, so usually they can't
Eu
really
só
break
tô
through the board, even if in
arrumando
this case he had
umas
Virtues, MST,
paradas aqui
Droplet, and
de
China, which
live.
is a lot
Tem
of
que
good non-energy
configurar.
going seconds, but with the impermanent was just enough.
Umas paradas de
One
live
more
que
thing
tem
though,
que
you
configurar
banished
aqui.
the Lollipo here, not knowing what your
E
opponent was playing. So game 1, you're always
dou foco
banishing Lollipo.
100% aqui.
Is there ever a
Eu não tô
different
conseguindo nem
thing you're
traduzir
banishing
o
with
que
the
eles
SP
estão
Little Knight
falando.
to revive with Baphomet, or is it just every single time the Baphomet, the Lollipo?
I mean, game 1, just in general, Lolly right now into the meta is better.
Okay.
Of course, it's better against Dracotail to put back Apheli on things, or Femena in general.
Sure.
And against MST, it's just great, of course, putting back the MST. And Cookie also only really has a good effect when summoned by a Synchro.
True, true.
Because reducing by 1,000 doesn't really come up that often, so yeah, it's always the Lolly. Post side had some floodgates, but game 1 only always Lolly, yeah.
Fair enough. And then, I mean, you were mentioning that you play a bunch of hand interruptions, and that was, of course, the case in that second game as you dropped that Dominus Purge right away on the chant. And yeah, there was no more chanting from Dennis' side. And as he also later on revealed, he had called by the grave even to stop other ways of interrupting you, but Dominus Purge was not able to be stopped. And therefore, you just pretty much turn skip the Radiant Typhoon deck. What would you say? I think you tested the Radiant Typhoon deck quite a bit as well, right? Yeah. Is that a common thing? Is Radiant Typhoon not so consistent when facing interruption? What is your personal take on that? Because you did not play it in the end, of course.
Yeah, I mean, it's very vulnerable to hand traps, to be honest. They don't have that many starters. One hand trap, sure, they can, and then a lot of hands can play through. But especially with this amount of hand traps, if you draw 2, most hands of MSTA lose to 2 hand traps all the time. So yeah, I would say it's one of the more vulnerable decks to hand traps.
Okay, fair enough. And then, I mean, the last highlight I have here for us is just basically you then summoning out all the yummies. You were kind of playing around the Mystical Space Typhoon that you do because they searched Mystical Space Typhoon, but you had a pretty easy answer there, just chaining your yummy surprise to make sure that it doesn't get destroyed. You could just reactivate it and then easy go for game. Is that like your yummy Fiends of deck? What is your expected game time? Will it always just be quick matches because your deck just either stops your opponent and then goes for game quickly, or does it sometimes come for a grind game?
I mean, there are definitely some scenarios where you can grind if both of you play like a hand trap deck and you both just hand trap yourself to death and you're maybe in a top deck situation. Yeah. But usually it's a quite quick deck. It's easy to TK. You're going first is most of the times strong enough to just win the duel instantly. And if they go first, you play so many hand traps that either they pass on nothing or you lose. Yeah.
So that in the end then was just your match. I mean, Julius, reigning YCS Dortmund champion. Are you just going to win it all again this weekend, being back in Dortmund, of course? Is that the goal? Are you winning this weekend?
I mean, it's always the goal to win. We're going to see what's going to happen. I hope so, yeah.
What's your most scared matchup, or do you think you're well covered into the meta game?
I think with the hand trap approach, you're pretty well covered. I think it's not really which deck you play against. Of course, there's some rogue decks that you don't really want to face, like Lunar Light probably can be annoying if they have a very good engine hand. They can push through a lot of hand traps. Okay. But other than that, no, I think I'm pretty good into all decks.
Fair enough. I mean, 300th YCS, we have your Jubilee YCS in Dortmund, a previous YCS Dortmund champion with us. Best of luck, of course, for the remainder of your tournament run. And you all should stay tuned as plenty more live action is coming your way here from Dortmund. So please stay tuned with more live action coming your way.
Essa campanha do Master Duel muito boa, tá? Muito boa mesmo. Ah, essa legendária eu não consigo
Welcome
comprar.
back, duelists, to the legendary 5Ds deck breakdown. Today, we are going to be looking at the beautiful Black Rose Dragon. Now, we will be getting to its most recent support from Doom of Dimensions very, very shortly. But it did start way back for Time Wizard format, and Alberto is going to take us through exactly what you can find in here for that.
I mean, absolutely, especially looking at those cards. The first one that comes to my mind is the Lone Fire Blossom. I think is the card of Time Wizard. Honestly, it's so powerful. You can revive it back, for example, with Call of the Haunted, and it's always been one of those cards. Every single time it's onto the field, it brings one another plant monster and gives you easy access to most of your deck, essentially strategy. But not only that, you can pair it up with Miracle Fertilizer, and there's also the Black Garden. These cards have always been used throughout the years during Time Wizards events, and I really feel like they have always been amongst the most consistent and strongest cards of the current format. I really feel like if you pair it up with the new strategy as well, this is something also out of the extraordinary. Yes.
Yeah, exactly that. Talking about Black Garden, leading into Garden Rose Maiden, an absolutely amazing reprint in the Akiza deck for the legendary 5Ds, because it opens up the door for so much collaboration with the brand new Doom of Dimensions cards, utilizing Bramble Rose Dragon and of course that Rage Rose Witch. But just straight from the deck themselves, they have a very cool combo that can lead you to the beautiful Black Rose Dragon chibi artwork that we're going to be able to show you
Acho que é meio
in a
tarde
second.
já pra eles tá mostrando
This combo is going to consist of
a legendária, né?
Rose Dragon monsters.
Aqui no Brasil
being
tu não
White
acha
Rose
mais nenhum
Dragon
lugar
and Red
lacrada
Rose
pra
Dragon.
vender.
Now it doesn't
Os caras
matter
tudo
which one
comprarem
you choose to normal
tipo
summon
assim, em
here, as both
excesso
will have the ability to enter the
e
field
pra
of
vender, pra
play.
poder vender as hand trap
We'll
é
start off
avulso,
with
né?
the Red Rose
Preço
Dragon. There is
exorbitante.
no effect to
Aí tem
trigger
que
at this exact moment
pagar
in time, but
150
we will now go
conto
back
no
to our
charme
hand with the
com
White Rose Dragon, whose effect is if you control a Dragon Tuner or a Plant Tuner, you can special summon this card from the hand. Red Rose Dragon is a Dragon Tuner, so we will special summon the White Rose Dragon. Now you have two synchro options here. Option number one would be to go for the Ace Monster of Black Rose
Mas
Dragon.
eles estão mostrando
We
aqui,
don't
pra
wanna
mim o
do
deck
that
da
just
Aki,
yet. We
acho que é o
wanna push
mais
this combo a
forte da
little
legendária,
bit
sim, se tu
further.
for pegar pra
So
jogar
we'll be
avulso.
using our non-tuner,
Acho que o deck
White
da
Rose
Aki é o
Dragon,
mais forte
and
da
our
legendária.
tuner, Red Rose Dragon, to perform a synchro summon and summon out Perilis, the Empress of Blossoms. At this point, the Red Rose Dragon effect in the graveyard will trigger. In doing so, it will allow us to special summon a Rose Dragon monster from the deck, and the one we want to go for is our Rocks Rose Dragon. As part of Red Rose
Queria
Dragon's effect,
muito
we will
pegar
also get the choice to choose one of
essa
two
legendária.
cards.
Tem
Those
muita
cards
coisa
being
boa.
Frozen
Recomendo
Rose
pra quem tiver
or
condição e quem encontrar,
the
né?
Blooming of the Darkest
Perdi
Rose.
totalmente a
Blooming of the
pré-venda.
Darkest Rose will be a trap card that you can set up to interact with your opponent during their turn. Or you can choose to take the Frozen Rose, which will allow you to send your Empress of
Não consigo
Blossoms
falar com
during the end phase of this turn to draw two
fone de
cards
ouvido,
and
não.
discard one.
Eu começo
For this
a
example,
travar.
we will choose Blooming of the
Eu tenho que
Darkest
começar, eu
Rose,
tenho que falar
and our
assim
Red
e
Rose will
escutar
continue
daqui onde
to
está.
stay in the graveyard. We will now be able to trigger the Rocks Rose Dragon's effect on normal or special summon to add a card that mentions Black Rose Dragon from the deck to the hand. The card we're going to want to add is going to be the Basil Rose Shoot, and in doing so, form a second synchro summon. So at this point here, we want to perform a synchro summon using the Rocks Rose Dragon and the White Rose Dragon to work our way into Akiza's beloved ace monster, Black Rose Dragon. Now, you could choose to clear the entire field should you want to, but we're not going to want to do that right here. I think our field presence is pretty good as it stands. So you'll set the Blooming of the Darkest Rose, and then you can pass to your opponent to play their turn out. So make sure you pick up the legendary 5Ds deck if you want to be just like Akiza and be able to present your opponent with the Black Rose Dragon.
Ah, travou a live. Travou a live. Ah, não. Tô rateando. Acho que é um joguinho aqui de descobrir qual que é o card, né? Esse é o Vanity, né? O Vanity não tem erro. Aquele meme do Casemiro. Esse não tem erro, né? Lindo, lindo, lindo. Vanity Fiend. Vanity Fiend. Eu reconheço. Ah, é o dinossauro aquele K especial, né? Vai participar da brincadeira da live da Konami. Não ganhar nada. Pancatrops. Phantom Revenge. Minecraft.
Hello duelists and welcome to
Oh,
an
Josh,
introduction to Phantom Revenge, a new set releasing on
dia eu
December
chego nesse
4th,
naipe
and
de
it's
ser
going to bring
convidado pela
3
Konami pra
brand new
apresentar
archetypes to
Buster.
the Yu-Gi-Oh! Trading card game,
dia eu
one
chego
of
lá.
which, and probably my favorite, is Aneacraft, a flip pendulum-based strategy with a very unique playstyle.
Queria que fosse do Mago
You
Negro.
also get a really cool illusion
eu
deck called
apresentando o
Hacker
Buster do
Hands that
Yuri.
involves taking your opponent's
Mago
monsters
Negro.
and using them as your own fusion materials.
Speaking of cool archetypes, we also got Cool Tune, a synchro-based strategy that skips the non-tuner aspect of synchro summoning and just uses tuners, which is also very interesting. And of course, we've got some reprints, we've got Collector's Res returning, we've got Starlights in the set, so a lot to look forward to. December 4th is the date for Phantom Revenge.
Today, Josh is going to be speaking us through Aneacraft.
That is right. Aneacraft is a flip and pendulum-based strategy at the same time. So as you can imagine, it has a very unique playstyle and very control-y as well. So more of like a slow-paced strategy that's trying to deal direct damage to the opponent with some of their cards. And in order to take a closer look at these cards, I'm going to talk you through some of the individual ones as well and some of their strategies. The most important thing with this archetype is that it's basically divided in between the small pendulum monsters as well as the big pendulum monsters, where luckily, which makes them easier to memorize, they share a lot of their effects. One of the most important effects that all of these have is that they can reveal themselves in the hand to special summon a monster from your hand in face down defense position, which is all the deck really is allowed to do as well, because it does lock you into those special summons in face down defense position, which is obviously very unique because that means you can't do any link summoning or even any pendulum summons, because those would be, of course, face up. And then all of the small pendulum monsters here have an effect in the scale where you can pay 900 life points to add more Aneacraft cards from your deck to your hand, fueling the strategy, allowing you to special summon more monsters. And then it's all about how do you flip these monsters face up during the opponent's turn, because they have quick effects that you can actually respond to your opponent with, which will then let you flip them face up, which normally the flip mechanic is of course relatively slow because you have to wait a turn until you can manually flip them up. In this case, they will have quick effects to flip themselves face up in specific scenarios, which is very cool. And next to the level 1 monsters, we have the level 9 light machine Aneacraft monsters, which all share a stat line as well: 3000 attack, 2500 defense, which of course is rather big compared to the 100 attack and 1000 defense of the level 1 monsters. Their effects in the pendulum zone include at the end of the battle phase, you can target a monster your opponent controls with less attack than this card, destroy it, so that's how you can get some removal into this deck if you're trying to pick apart your opponent's field. And this is where we basically get into the point where all of the Aneacrafts are different from each other, because so far we've looked at some effects that they have in common, and that is the fact that they all have different flip effects to disrupt your opponent. And then of course, they revolve around some spell cards as well. Most importantly, Anniapolis is their field spell card, which is the one that does the damage to the opponent in the end phase for each of the so-called EC counters, which you can collect in your scale every time a monster is flipped face up. And so in each end phase, you're going to be removing all the counters you've assembled throughout the turn and dealing 900 damage to your opponent for each. And this is how you can convert these into actually a game-winning strategy, because otherwise, of course, just flipping monsters up and down the entire game wouldn't get you to a win, of course. But that's how you get there.
Very unique play style. I'm really digging the art as well.
Very cool, yeah. So Aneacraft is a flip pendulum-based strategy with a very unique playstyle, of course, as a result of that. And in order to understand how they execute their control-y game plan, we have to look at the individual cards here. And they come in a series of level 1 Earth Machine monsters, as well as a series of level 9 Light Machine monsters. And luckily, in order to remember them a little bit easier, they share some effects between all of the cards, which is that you can reveal any one of them to special summon any monster from your hand in face down defense position.
Wait, you can just special summon any monster from your hand?
Any monster. It does not have to be an Aneacraft. It does not even have to be the one you reveal, and does not once per turn. You can reveal one of them to essentially special summon as many monsters from your hand face down in defense position, and your opponent does not know which ones you special summon, because you're just not, you do not have to reveal at the point of special summoning. You just reveal the one that you're activating the effect of, but which monster you special summon is not something that your opponent gets to see. However, they are restricted to only special summoning monsters in face down defense position during the turn you do this. So you really have to gonna stick to that flip mechanic if you play this deck. Another effect that only the level 1 monsters share in this case is that in the Pendulum Zone, you can once per turn pay 900 life points to reveal 3 Enneacraft cards from your deck, and then your opponent randomly adds one of those to your hand. So they got a lot of searching power in that regard. And then next to the level 1 monsters, we have the level 9 monsters, which actually have some quite respectable stats. We got 3,000 attack and 2,500 defense on each of them, whereas of course the level 1 monster is a little bit smaller with 100 attack and 1,000 defense. All of these have the effect in the Pendulum Zone. At the end of the battle phase, you can target a monster your opponent controls with less attack than this card and destroy it, so you've got some removal going on there. And of course, now we're getting into the differences between these, because of course some of them share the pendulum effects. Where they differ is on the flip effects. Each of them has a unique disruptive flip effect that you can do whenever they're flipped face up, and that is something that's going to be the way you stop your opponent from making their plays or try to disrupt what they're doing. And for example, we've got Enneacraft Atorimar that changes all of your opponent's monsters to face down defense position, and they cannot change their battle positions if they're changed this way.
Wow. Pretty strong. It's a strong effect.
Yeah. And so the interesting part is, how do you get to flip these up on your opponent's turn? Because of course, normally you'd have to wait an entire turn until you can flip a monster face up that has just been summoned. Well, they do have quick effects that allow you to flip them up while they're in face down defense position if a certain requirement is met.
I imagine at this point we have a field full of face-down flip monsters. How exactly do we plan on interrupting our opponent?
Well, that's where you don't have to wait a turn to flip these up, which is what you normally would have to do if you set a monster face down. These have quick effects that can activate based on your opponent performing certain action. Which action that is different from card to card here. However, your opponent does a certain thing, and they have a quick effect to flip themselves up.
Wow, so they have quick effects while face down.
Yeah, it's very unique, didn't I tell you in the beginning? So it's basically your opponent does the thing, activate the effect of your face down Enneacraft monster, flip itself face up, do something, and then also trigger the flip effect right after. Alright, so now we're at a point where we have a field full of face-up pendulum monsters, and we hopefully have disrupted the opponent. And how do we win from there? Well, one thing you can do is just shift your 3,000 attack Enneacraft monsters and try to attack for some big damage, but the deck actually has some spell cards in the mix. We've got some search power in Enneacraft Release, some draw power in Enneacraft Rebirth, but the big one here is Enneapolis, which is the field spell of the archetype and also encapsulates a win condition for the deck. But first and foremost, it allows you to target any Pendulum Enneacraft monster card, return them to the hand so you can reuse them. You can summon them back in face down defense position. You can reuse the monsters that you've placed into the Pendulum Zone the turn prior. And also, all of the monsters in your Pendulum Zones are going to get EC counters every time a monster is flipped face up. And those EC counters during the end phase, you can remove them for the effect of Enneapolis and inflict 900 damage to the opponent for each counter that you've managed to put on there. And so that is basically your slow and steady win condition for this deck. Just you're trying to resummon those flip monsters over and over and over again, interrupting the opponent, flipping them up, and then returning them back to the hand, collecting those counters in the Pendulum Zone, and then eventually you're gonna deal enough damage to your opponent.
So that was Enneacraft out of Phantom Revenge. Thank you very much, Josh, for your introduction there.
No problem.
That is one of 3 themes available in Phantom Revenge. Stay tuned for the other 2.
Aproveitar que não começou ainda, senhor. Espera aí. Essas brincadeiras da Konami, cera. Eu achei que ia estar mais dorminhoco hoje, né? Mas até que não. Tô bem de boa pra quem acordou às 5 horas da manhã pra transmitir uma rodada de torneio. Uma.
Hello, we're back to the Yu-Gi-Oh! Legendary 5Ds decks discussion, and this time we're gonna be showcasing you duelists our beautiful secret rare chibi art versions of the new released synchro monsters and tokens for each characters. So first of all, I see in front of me three of the most iconic cards in the game: Stardust Dragon, Black Rose Dragon, and Black Wind Dragon. But I want to ask you, which one of those is your favorite?
Well, it has to be Black Rose Dragon. It's just iconic in regards to the red and the blacks and the darks. And what really looks even more spectacular with these particular prints is the fact that they have corresponding backgrounds. So each background corresponds to the attribute of the particular monster. In regards to Black Rose Dragon, of course, it's the Burning Fire. And then one of your favorite ones, the Blackwing Dragon.
I mean, I'm a Blackwing enjoyer, and honestly, I remember also seeing Crow Hogan in action in the anime. I mean, it was something else. Like, when he summoned the Blackwing Dragon onto the field, it was a very special moment. And honestly, having the chance to play those cards in our decks is something that I'm really looking forward to do. And this is something that I think we have been summoning these synchro monsters a lot of time throughout our duelist careers, and having finally the chance to see them in front of us, it's something else. Make sure to put your hands on a complete guaranteed set of chibi art version synchro monsters and tokens coming in the legendary 5D decks.
Aproveitar ainda que não tá dando a rodada, né? Só preciso, né? Entrar minha live, só isso. isso. A gente já pode fechar aqui. Voltar pra cá. Difícil. Não era bem isso que eu queria, né? Exclusivamente o chat. Não vai dar certo. Não vai dar certo. A gente vai tirar isso aqui. Vai remover. Não era bem isso. Tem que ficar com dó. Só exclui. De novo. Vamos com a rodada 2, gurizada. Vamos, rodada 2.
Hello duelists and welcome to another sim introduction video. I'm here joined by Revscard, and you will talk to us a little bit more about Hands, a new archetype coming in Phantom Revenge.
Tem que estudar esses recarregantes porque eu ainda não li eles.
It's a very reactive deck with near enough infinite grind, and the art style of the cards is great too.
Porque eu vi que eles estão jogando em alguns regionais.
So these are
alguns regionais, alguns locais com Castira.
Right off the bat, you'll notice all of them are illusion type.
So do you mean that they are not being able to get destroyed by battle?
Yep, that's right. Every Hands monster has that classic illusion effect where any monster involved in a battle with these cards cannot be destroyed by battle. You'll also notice that there is a mix of light monsters and dark monsters, and that really helps you distinguish what kind of effects that the monsters have. So the light monsters are really good for starting your plays.
Illusion já é forte já.
You will see more of that video later, but for now, you're back with even more coverage here at YCS Dortmund 2026, our 300th YCS celebration. In front of me, I have your round 2 feature match duelists, Richard Riesmeyer versus Andre Kriek, and they're ready to kick things off. So, Richard, why don't you roll first, and we'll get this going to see who is going to be starting this off. That is a 10. For Richard, and for Andre, we have a 6. Richard, you're going to go first? Richard's going to go first. I'm going to hand you guys over to your amazing commentary trio. There's a fist bump of good sportsmanship. Guys, take it away.
Thank you, Ed. And now, of course, also for the second trio of our commentary team, we are welcoming you as well to the 300th YCS here in Dortmund. Lena König, John Alexi Rousseau, and myself, Sebastian Lemke, going to guide you through this wonderful tournament once again as well. And in this round 2, we have some cool decks coming our way once again.
Definitely some fan favorites, and of course some brand new stuff Burst Protocol just released. We love it. We love you. It's Valentine's Day. It's all about the love today, the love for the game. Jean-Alexis, are you excited?
I am very excited, of course, because this is a new meta game. We've got some exciting new strategies. On top of that, this is totally new because we've got some Radiant Typhoon that just went out. And I know that a lot of players in this room are playing this strategy, but today, in this game, it is not going to be about this strategy. It is going to be something very special. I can see some white cards. I can see some synchro monsters, but also something else. The opponent is playing a strategy that you like very much indeed.
I may have played that deck before, but I think players are ready, as you saw. Let's not spoil you any further. Round 2 of YCS Dortmund, the 300th YCS that we have, is coming your way now.
Vamos começar a partida. Round 2, fight.
Oh boy, I love the energy. You guys riled me right up. This is a special tournament, the 300th YCS. we're honoring the history of this beautiful game this weekend. And of course, we're making history with the Elf Nodes deck, now just released in Burst Protocol, and I think we're starting off with a Theorialize.
Yeah, let's do some theory first. That's always good to start off your game. Theorize the combo, and that, of course, is sort of revealing that at least we're going to be in the Meteors ballpark. It doesn't reveal quite yet what deck it really turns out, because Meteors, of course, is home now for different decks, being, for example, the Archmage strategy, or also, and you already said something about synchro cards coming our way, also now the Elf Node deck, which is pretty cool, as it is using the center monster zone, and for free we are able to summon those Elf Node monsters into that center monster zone. And I think we're starting off with the Lucina here.
Yes, Lucina is going to search you a monster from your deck, an Elf Node monster, of course, and then you have multiple options. You can, funnily enough, not do any of that, because Infinite Impermanence is going to be a good answer to this. What are we seeing? Oh, the Fall and the Virtuous. I like this.
I mean, maybe not that much of a hot take, but I think this card, the Fall and the Virtuous, may as well be the most played card this weekend. It's everywhere.
Is it? I remember when we saw this card that you were like, oh, this card is overrated, dude. You don't know what you're talking about. It's not that good.
Times have changed, okay? We have a quick spell deck with Radiant Typhoon in the meta game now, and even an Elf Node, it is all so powerful.
Absolutely. I think this card is very powerful because not only it allows you to disrupt your opponent to try to destroy the opponent's card, but also it protects yourself from effects that target you. And indeed, here, Andre tried to activate the Infinite Impermanence, a card that we do not see that much nowadays because it is not as powerful as the other interruptions, and the Fallen Virtuous allows Richard to just resolve the effect. So we are going to keep comboing, to keep going into the strategy, and it didn't happen, literally.
Yeah, and I mean, what's even crazier about this is, with the Fallen Virtuous, dodging the Infinite Impermanence, we also freed up our center main monster zone again, so we could special summon the Elf Node Tinia for free now as well, activating that. Welcome home. I mean, YCS back in Germany, here in Dortmund, we are kind of welcome back home, and Richard also is enjoying that beauty of playing here in his home country. Ooh, Ash Blossom back to the bottom of the deck, we don't need that. That's a strong statement, honestly, giving up on that card.
Well, I don't think we don't really necessarily need that, but if you can decide between no combo and full combo, I think you would choose the full combo, right? And now this is the funniest thing. Meteors the Pure is a centerpiece of the deck, because now you can summon out the Elf Node Power Patron. You know that Meteors the Pure is going to summon out a Power Patron monster from your deck. Now also bridging into the Elf Node strategy. And there he is again, Armadis. The Keeper of Boundaries is being summoned. Why is that card everywhere now, guys?
I mean, I see no boundaries for Richard here. He seems to be pretty fine as he just summons out an old synchro monster. I mean, that card is from way back, really. Has been one of really the first synchro monsters to be released. I would say probably under the first 200. That's kind of the first at this point. And Leo is looking at me. I'm trying to find a number. What year could Armadis have been? It definitely... That is pretty early.
O cara pegou o bicho de 2006 pra ali, mano.
Well, if you compare it to how long Yu-Gi-Oh has been around, that's not much. But yeah, we are of course summoning it because it is a light fiend monster at the end of the day, which allows us to immediately link it off for that Fiendsmith Requiem. And we're already a couple steps further than that, because we have traded that Fiendsmith Requiem with its effect for the Lacrima. Fiendsmith Engraver has found its way into the graveyard, and we now are probably about to summon out not a synchro monster, but instead an Exceed monster, and a very powerful one.
DDD Wave Hiking Caesar, one of the most powerful cards in Yu-Gi-Oh!, preventing your opponent from special summoning monsters, and that's so strong in the current metagame. Of course, there are some monsters that special summon themselves without starting a chain. We know that, especially, for example, in Radiant Typhoon, but for some cards like Crozea, for example, or the Canine cards, this is so good. So you also protect yourself from cards like Nibiru, which is very strong, because now Richard, we see him going into the following parts of his combo being totally protected.
Yep, and we are using the effect of Theorialize here. And now we're going to also use the effect of the Incredible Ecclesia, the Virtuous that we have just normal summoned, as we have done all of this without normal summoning, of course. And this
is another card from Burst Protocol that we may see quite a bit of this weekend. It's a new version, I gotta say, of Fallen of Albas. It is now the
Fallen of the White
Fallen and the White.
And very interesting because now we also have the dispatter slowly the field just built itself up and recharged. This is already very, very threatening. Having the Caesar as well as the dispatter is so strong.
And we are not stopping here because we're actually about to free up our main monster zone even more. We have the Madness Rhapsodia, I believe is the name, or...
It is the Rhapsodia of Madness, yes.
Esse Exceed aqui, esse DDD aqui é
indeed it is, as it does, first of all, provide you a way to keep on playing, but also it does provide some kind of interruption on the opponent's turn as well, as when you use that effect on their turn, you additionally get to negate a face-up card from your opponent, right?
Non-targeting, my friend.
Ele nega
that is strong.
o spell, o efeito de monstro que dá sum. Então sabe que dependendo do que tu estiver jogando, cara, é... Sabe que tu vai ter o teu primeiro sum vai ser negado. Provavelmente ele vai fazer mais um negate aqui. Ele não fez a fusão ainda dos Archmages.
This one is now quite crucial though, because Richard summoned the Lucina into the not middle main monster zone, probably thinking he gets another elf node to put it into that middle zone, and that may have now messed up his combo a little bit, but there still is the Power Patron finding its way there into the main monster zone, and we just synchro summon it off. One cool thing about the elf node deck, we're really working our way through every single extra deck summoning mechanic, right? We had the Link monsters, we have Synchros, we have Exceed, we had Fusion, like all in one turn, all in this one combo.
That's actually true. It's a very, very bright colored extra deck. And now we're going into the Cyframe Lord Omega. Usually this is actually an extender for the deck because normally you use Ecclesia to summon out the Golden Sword Soul.
True.
And that card triggers when a card gets banished. So you use your Omega, you banish your own Omega, you trigger it, you summon back a monster, and then you use Medius the Pure to have another extender to go into a Dragite. Maybe we are not even running the Dragite here. And now we get the
agora o cara já sabe do que ele tá jogando, né?
I mean, I think this is very interesting because you've got so many information.
The Disparter hand rip.
Yeah, so 2 cards left in hand for Andre. This is very scary. And at that point, I'm just wondering,
mostra pro mundo do que
because you know that you're not gonna have much time to just play with all those cards. The droplet as well.
One thing though, I think the information was already out of the bag because we activated the Theorize at the very beginning of our turn, and that one made us look at the opponent's
na main volta agora, né? O cara comprou uma draw, né, mano? No momento errado. Era pra ser a quinta carta dele, foi a sexta.
So it was fine from Andre to just keep on revealing cards because I think the message already was delivered that he is on my beloved Apophis strategy.
Pegou pra ler
but this is so strong, to be honest, because not only you build such a strong field, having the Caesar, having the Dispatter, having the Omega, and much more after that, but on top of that you get so much information. We've seen that recently with, for example, the Cool Tune strategy, which allows you to just check a little bit the extra deck of the opponent. And we also see that with the Elf Node strategy. I think information is key in Yu-Gi-Oh! And yeah, having the ability to do that in your combo is so good.
Yep, and I mean, it was definitely enough to beat Andre here in game 1. Richard takes the win here. Both players already packing up their cards, ready to side deck. What an impressive field through an impermanence and then deciding, hey, I'm not going to put up some interruptions here with my Elf Nodes cards. Keep in mind, Tinia could have also ripped another card from hand.
Yes.
But also just taking so many cards. Your opponent is then on 3 cards, -1 if you count in the Tinia. One of those cards isn't ever going to come back because the Omega isn't going to resolve with it anymore because it was looped. The Disparter is another negate. That's tough to beat.
It is very tough to beat. And I think we didn't even activate the Albion in the graveyard at the end phase, right? Because I don't remember him setting back another of the Fallen Individuals. We didn't even need it, you know? Because that is why this card is so powerful. And yes, Leo, you saw it from the very beginning. I will give you credit to it, because that card provides you that powerful interruption. Also, our way to keep on playing here in that very case and dodge that infinite impermanence. But it also is replacing itself to be there again on the next turn.
I will just say I was not the only one to see the full potential of the Fallen and the Virtues. on the contrary, Basti was just the only one who
tinha muito
tested.
que o cara tinha mostra ali pra
Thank you, my darling.
deck do ódio ali.
Of course, love.
Podia fazer.
I mean, yeah, this is the Valentine's Day, but apart from that, I think that the Elva strategy, choosing this strategy for this special tournament is very, very good.
Ele podia negar uma spell, o Trap fez de monstro que dá
know what you're playing, they don't know the effect of the cards, and I am someone who praised the fact that you try to surprise your opponent. 100%. In a tournament like that, you've got so many rounds, you have to stay focused on your plays, but also on the opponent plays. And when you're playing something like Draco Tail or Radiant Typhoon, your opponent might know all the lines that you will go into. While when you're playing Elf Notes, I mean, people, they're reading your cards.
And I mean, you saw that. He had started off with a Lucina that got impermanenced as well, but the first card was not Lucina, the first card was Theorealized, so his opponent could have known that there was a Medius the Pure, which is the one-card combo starter for the deck. The combo gets a little bit weaker if you have to summon it from the graveyard immediately, because usually you want to do that
provavelmente ele vai pedir para começar a jogar, né? Perdeu.
For example, an Emancipator Dragite.
Botou o side.
But still,
e side com quem joga full trap, né? Vai vir pesado esse side aí.
A one-card starter. With the Power Patron that you're searching, you push the level of that Power Patron to level 4, you make a level 10 Fabled Synchro, which is a Light Fiend.
Of course it is. Woo! Obviously it is. Well, let's put this into the big picture. I think this weekend we have at least 10 decks that can easily take the crown. The meta is wide open with Burst Protocol releasing just recently, but we're back into the action here, of course, for this match. So let's go back over to the table for game 2.
I just got so lost in the sauce of Elf Note theory that I didn't even realize the players were done siding. The first round was over really quickly, so we just had a little bit more of a chat, but I'm sure the players are fine. Andre, for example, had just a little moment to briefly calm down. Realize, okay, I lost game 1, but now I can start the game. This is where my deck really shines, but is this a hand that shines?
That is the question, but it's going to be very interesting to have the Apophis strategy going first. We didn't see it, but it starts well. It starts pretty well, and we can see that even Richard is reading the opponent's card.
And that's an old card. I mean, he summoned Amadis, and I said that's an old card. This one, Leo, will you accept that this is actually an old card to you?
Oh, yeah.
The Temple of the Kings. Oh my. The turn is over. Wait, have we passed?
Oh yeah, that was only activating Temple of the King and passing
again. Richard, because you could always activate the Fallen and the Witches, he was thinking that he could immediately activate it there, but no, of course, it is not something you can activate on your opponent's turn.
Just wait a little bit, wait.
Não veio tão bem como ele esperava, eu acho. Ou isso aqui é side.
I mean, we praised the power of that card, and maybe he heard a word of it, and he was like, yeah, that card is actually strong.
Oh my goodness! This day is starting strong. Temple of the Kings doesn't even help you anymore, even if you top deck in a Apophis Serpent. But can you continue to play? Of course, all of your Elf Note monsters, they just special summon themselves for free. You just need to have the discipline not to randomly normal summon Denko Sekka in the center main monster zone. And there is Tinia.
Denko Sekka, such a strong card, and of course Andre was not the target when we saw Denko Sekka in his side, but what a strong card against the meta game. Of course, being able to prevent your opponent from activating some set cards is so strong. Going into the Radiant Typhoon going second, but also going into the Draco's strategy going second, and now Andre is in some trouble because he cannot activate his strong trap cards. Will Richard be able to just close the game on this turn? That is the question.
I remember getting Denko Sekka constantly when I was playing Paleozoic back then in 2018. There was a Ash Blossom attempted on the Tinia. Now, I don't know why this did not happen.
It activates it to the field, yeah. That's how you play around those little things. It's sometimes with little wording, right? It plays around Drone Lockbird, it plays around Ash Blossom and Joy Spring, and for that, it actually is a pretty good starter in that case.
That is some information, though, because you have to send a monster from your field as cost to the graveyard, and now at this point,
not very appealing anymore.
If you know there is an Ash Blossom, do you really want to
Ativa aí.
do that.
Oh, you do
Ativa,
though?
ativa
Okay, Andre, you got that invitation now. Do you want to use Ash Plus Major
André, vai
Spring for
lá,
this?
come um
And it is
lanche.
really funny because the two players
Pra rodada
were laughing,
3,
watching, looking at each other, and now we see the Ash Blossom. Will Richard be able to continue to keep playing? Yeah,
and in what a way!
Another one.
O Trix, o cara joga ainda normal, né, mano?
Not
Cadê o
anymore
normal
a
summon na Deco Seca e
combo,
joga de
because you
boa
use your
ainda.
normal summon on Denko Sekka, the
Isso
power
aqui é um
patron
absurdo
that you
do
can search,
século
the Elfno Power
21.
Patron. That one can't special summon itself, and also your Fortuna that you just searched, your center main monster zone is currently occupied. So let's see how we can continue here. But the thing is, Andre didn't really do anything on his first turn. So,
Oh, Fallen the Virtuous. Oh, we're just going to do it on our own monster again.
I like this.
That seems to be the regular, actually, for Richard, that he's just using this card to get rid of his own cards.
I mean, this is already the second time, because during the last game it was already the case. And this is very clever, because now the center main monster zone is free to use for the other monsters. I mean, this card is so versatile. I really like it.
Truly one of the greatest
Eu
cards in the game
recomendo
right now, right?
fortemente
everybody's
esse
so
André aí pegar e levantar e comer um
Everyone
lanche.
is like on the same opinion.
Aproveitar
One
que tem
card.
tempo ainda pra rodada
So
3.
the Lucina still on the field right now, though. Is it maybe unaffected
tomou
or something?
bonito agora uma
Why is
Deco Seca.
why is it not left the field? Because
Olha,
Fallen
o cara
Virtuous
tomou uma
has
Ashe ainda na
officially
volta.
resolved. Oh my! The
de
monster
boa.
in your
Nem
center
vê,
main
né,
monster zone
Aonde
are
ele vai?
protected by distraction card
Tomou,
effects because of
tomei.
his
Bah,
very own
falou
elf
assim,
notes.
tomei,
Welcome home. It's the first Sandys of the card,
Ele tá
but the
rezando
judges
pra
had
comprar
to
uma coisa
remind
ali.
him of it. So that
Uma coisa
Fallen the
tri.
Virtuous will replace
que ele usa
itself if he
lavagora?
remembers again. Wait, no, it cannot. I mean, he can
Caju, sei lá.
search for
Acho
another
que
Fallen
não,
the
né?
Virtuous, but he cannot set it due to the Denko Sekka that is on the
Oh, my
field.
days,
Yeah.
O cara virou pra
And
isso
even
mal,
if it
meu
could send
também.
it, that would not do anything.
Tira minha
Not
Deco
much
Seca.
indeed, but still, that's plenty
Tira
of
minha Deco Seca,
damage
está capaz.
going in here. So Andre is certainly on a clock here. He needs to find a monster to deal with that Denko Sekka.
We used the Gospel on
On the Fallen
Olha,
the Virtuous.
deixa eu falar,
Yeah. Oh no, on the Albion, I mean, yeah.
Cara, deu Reaper.
Wait, but does that
Deu
work?
Reaper no
Can it set from
Albion.
the graveyard?
Also-
Can you even use Gospel? I think it
I don't think
it
so.
only
Realmente,
sets
tá.
from the deck
Yeah.
or adds, right?
It's only
Eu
from the
queria
deck.
adicionar
Are
Brand
happening
Exclusive
here
pra
at
mão,
the
né?
300 YCS and Dortmund, both players.
Foi bom ele dar uma
perhaps a little bit
ah,
nervous there. Of course, I can
Foi bom ele
also
ter dado,
understand from Andre's side
né,
that you
nele,
don't know
porque
what is going on
ele
Richard's
vai
side
ter
of the
follow
field.
a
and
mais.
at some
Não,
point you're
adicionou
just
igual.
trying to throw some hand traps at your
O juiz falou que não
opponent,
podia,
that's
não
enough.
pode.
But now,
Não pode
Will
dar.
Richard
É porque-
said, oh no, Richard set the card, he didn't even realize that he had
o
Denko Sekka on the
cara tá
field.
nervoso, o cara não sabe jogar.
Since Denko Sekka prevents players
Eu não
from
soube da
activating the set
interação
card,
na Albion vermelho.
this is pretty bad, I
Eu não
guess.
soube da
I think
interação
at
do
some
bicho
point,
dele.
I mean, this can be
Agora
really
o juiz
easily
tá-
changed.
Ah,
I think
meu,
the players are
sério?
already in discussion with
Yeah.
the judges.
Agorizado, isso aí a
at
gente tem
some
que saber
point
de
you
cor,
will
né?
have to, of course, pay attention to not making too
Então, no
many
maior
procedural
evento
errors with your deck,
do
because otherwise
continente,
those could get upgraded at
e
some certain point
a gente não sabe se
into
pode
a
dar
possible
no...
game loss. And when you're activating multiple cards in the wrong way,
Não, o cara
I mean,
que tá
yeah,
jogando
of
de
course,
Brand,
they are
ele
going
sabe
to
que não
just
pode.
check that a little bit, but I wanted to
Ou
put
pelo
an
menos tem
emphasis on the fact
certeza
that
que não pode.
it's not easy to be on stream
course
first,
not.
and on top
Então
of
a
that, it's
questão
not
ali é
easy
se
to
o
be
juiz
playing
vai
in
dizer
this
que sim ou
YCS.
não,
There
né?
is a lot of pressure, a lot of tension when you are playing against the opponent, because of course you want
Acho
to
que ele vai
win, you
adicionar.
want to win.
Ele vai adicionar
And
igual.
Yu-Gi-Oh is not an easy game.
Oh, it's
You've
not.
got a lot of things to remember, and we saw that during this turn, because I mean the other players just
E aí
didn't
vai
realize
deixar ele
that,
mais abalado ainda. Ele vai
his
perder essa
cards
partida
couldn't
de
be
2-0.
destroyed. You know, this type of thing, it can
Infelizmente.
happen.
Gosto muito
So,
dele, gostei muito
no
do cara.
worries,
O cara é
they are going to fix
corajoso.
that
Vou jogar de
and
deck
to
de
take
ódio.
care of that. In the meantime,
Mas
though,
eu acho que esse aí
we
vai
can
tomar.
talk a little bit about
2 a 0.
the turn, because what a start it was.
E aí fechou
Normal
a tela,
summoning
né?
the
Pra não
Denko
passar
Sekka,
vergonha na
using
hora
the
da
normal
decisão
summon
do
and
juiz,
being
né?
able to combo afterwards. I mean, this is so strong against the meta deck, but also against the strategy of the Apophis deck.
Yeah.
the thing is with the Denko Sekka, it's a phenomenal card. It's also
2
really strong
a
against
0,
Draco
2
Tail.
a
I've seen
0,
people
gurizada.
side deck this in the mirror match.
Totally.
But even though those decks are not completely
Eu acho que ele
reliant
não
on
se
the normal
recupera,
summon,
ele tomou uma Deco
sometimes
seca,
it
deu
really
uma
stings
Ashe
because
meio
just as he
perdidão
comboed
assim.
afterwards, he couldn't really
Aí
combo
ele
because
conseguiu dar
using
uma
the normal
abafada
summon,
no
if you
turno do
go for your
cara.
in-elf nodes combo
Aí o cara
without the
ativou pra
minions, but
adicionar a
you
Brand
need to normal summon
Fusion
for the
e...
power patron.
Absolutely, and we do not have that anymore. But as we're currently trying to fix the game state here, I think we will be getting there momentarily. But let's again go a little from the let's go away from the game for a little bit and speak about the overall meta game.
Yeah.
Because we're seeing two decks. I think Apophis has a pretty low representation overall in the tournament. Elf Lords, I think I wouldn't be surprised if it's amongst the top 10 decks in representation for the tournament. I'm just making that number up, but I could see it right around maybe 6th or 7th, maybe 8th place. What is your expectation, though, for being the most represented deck in the room? Do you have a clear answer for that?
Yeah, of course. I think that it's going to be either Dracotail or Radiant Typhoon.
That was a very clear answer, giving me two decks there.
Dracotail is the first one. Dracotail is the first one, in my opinion. I think this is the strongest deck going into the tournament because Radiant Typhoon is such a cool deck to play. This is such a powerful deck, but it has some very clear issues. We've seen some strategies that are here to just take down the deck. We've seen
Agora fica na mão do juiz, né? Eu acho que adiciona igual. Eu acho que adiciona, eu acho que o Albion não toma aquela interação. Agora a gente tem que ver, né? Eu daria, tipo assim, não segue o jogo. Segue o jogo.
You say it is the strongest, but will it also be the most represented?
It will be the most represented, yeah, the Dracotail strategy. In my opinion, we'll see that later on. Maybe,
do you have a different opinion, or do you agree?
No, I would agree. I was just going to say that anti-spell fragrance versus a mystical space typhoon deck, I think your friend Samir Bashar would laugh at you for this.
I mean, yeah, he will always draw the out. But I mean, it can be annoying because if you don't have the mystical space typhoon in your hand, you're kind of in a trouble. So you know, it depends. But still, players have some response. They have some answers in their side deck, and they are ready to face you, ready to try to crush you. So you have to navigate through everything, through every stuff that people have to throw to you.
That is also the same thing for Dracotail, right? Because cards like Dimensional Fissure are extremely strong versus the deck, and Radiant Typhoon is not relying too much on the graveyard, especially not with the monsters, because the spell and traps still go into the graveyard.
That's true.
So that could be tough. If you're siding Denko Sekka versus Radiant Typhoon and your opponent just looks at you with a Dimensional Fissure on the field, alright, okay, so
what do we do now?
I mean, I could see Dracotail being the most represented deck. It has, I think, also been for the last couple of YCSs already. It was pretty close up top with Yami Mitsurugi also being very much represented in Bologna. But can Radiant Typhoon maybe reach similar numbers this weekend? I wouldn't be surprised if it maybe actually is very, very close up top once again.
I mean, there's multiple iterations of the deck
as
well.
True.
You can play a more combo-heavy variant. The Yummies are coming back. You have a Yummy that Tri-Brigade bridges into Radiant Typhoon, and the other way around as well.
You're mentioning a bridge, though. We can bridge back to our featured match, and I think we are back into the action, so let's go over to the table again.
Fantastic segue, Basti.
I mean, you mentioned it, right? You mentioned the bridge, so let's bridge back into the gameplay. We have successfully resolved the Albion in the end phase now, adding, of course, the Fallen and the Witches to the hand, as setting was no longer an option due to the Denko Sekka. I think still, Richard kind of happier about the Denko Sekka than Andre for the very moment.
Because even if you find a man, what are you going to do with the man with the mark?
I mean, not a lot unless you go into the extra deck strategy, but apart from that, you have to out the Denko Sekka. He's reading it again. It is very simple.
Leo, I can give you the answer. If you find the man, you can find Treasures of the Kings, and Treasures of the Kings actually would be able to get you the newer version of Circuit to your hand, and that you can special summon if you have Temple of the Kings. We have that already. Treasures also is Temple, and that one is just big enough to attack over the Merciless Scorpion of Circuit, could attack over Denko Sekka, or use its effectively.
I was just really not used anymore to people actually playing the full combos with the Temple of the Kings. The Circuit, of course, is a fantastic template in this situation, and then you can fully set up your fields. I think if you find it, you're golden. Of course, you're missing out on the first effect of Treasures of the Kings, that says on activation you can set an Apophis spell trap.
E é isso aí, ele adicionou.
Well, you gotta find the man first, or just the treasures.
Treasures would also work, but Andre has looked through his extra deck there very carefully, which may be an indicator that Super Polymerization is a card that he has found here. And looking at those two monsters, Denko Sekka, Light, Thunder Monster, and then on the other end we have Elf Node Lucina, a Spellcaster Fire Monster. I'm struggling to find a combination there as well for Super Polymerization, to be honest.
I'm sure there is a very specific fusion monster that actually gets you there with this.
Battle phase, and that is enough damage to seal it. And Richard is taking this game with a 2-0 victory here.
Eu teria ido comer um lanche muito mais cedo.
cleanest game I've seen all weekend so far.
Por que eu vou ficar me estressando, cara? Eu acabei de tomar um combo aqui de Archmage com Branded. Tem nada, sem staple na mão, sem nada.
If your opponent starts with full monster combo and maybe goes into Fiends
Não faz
cards or
sentido.
something like that, it's not as easy to play through a
That's
field
true.
then.
But still, I think this is something that you put
Ele
in
demorou
your deck
ainda pra ir comer o lanchinho dele lá.
absolutely want to get the most out of your cards, and we have something special in the second duel that we are going to watch right now, because the two players are already in the game.
Vou acabar
and I think
transmitindo
we
isso
can just
aqui
jump
lá
into
no
it.
TikTok. Vamos ver se o TikTok
we have
derruba ou
them.
não.
Our backup feature is White Forest
Agora eles
versus
foram
Timo.
para as
I mean,
mesas
we just
auxiliares.
mentioned super polarization
Nas
and
mesas
the
auxiliares
options
nós
it could
temos
possibly
White
have.
Forest.
I think Justin here has just resolved such a super polarization into a Murcielago. So what is going on? There also, wait. There is a Diabells on the side of Timo, which
Yeah, I
is the
think he
August
just-
Horus player here.
Yeah, he just took control of it thanks to,
with the Enlil Gisse, right?
Absolutely,
Of
absolutely. But
course.
at first, I was thinking the same. I was like, wow, he's cooking.
That was a lot to take in for just going over into the match.
But yeah, White Forest going into this meta game. I know a very good White Forest player in the tournament, to be
Tá
honest.
1-0
and he
pro cara
told
de
me
White
that the deck
Forest.
was not
A
that
White
good,
Forest
of course.
faz
It's not one of the best decks,
baita
but
de
still it
campo
has
se
some
tu
very
não
good
der
plays going second
nenhuma
and a
handstrap
very
nesse
good
cara.
Raging Typhoon matchup, which is something that you are ready to face
Ele
when
faz
you enter
campo com
this
3
tournament.
negate, eu quero
And
ver
now
tirar.
we see that Justin
Ainda mais
doesn't
de
have a
Orkut e
lot of
Horus.
cards in hand, which is something that you actually want when you are playing the White Forest strategy, because you want to cost some spell and traps from your hand or your field.
I mean, there's only one strategy I can think of that really does not want many cards, and that is Infernity.
Absolutely.
And also, you don't want to have them when you're playing against K9 decks.
Totally.
You're trying to get rid of as many cards as you have. Okay, we are just trying to attack maybe over the Vengeance now, but...
Funnily enough, the Murcielago is going to shrink the opponent's monsters for 500 for each Azamina card that you're controlling, which is an effect that I have not known about until I played locals last weekend.
Well, for a second I thought you were imitating a cow there, starting with the Mu, but
Murcielago.
you got with the Murcielago over the Vengeance.
I mean, I'm known for my animal impressions.
You
I think I can throw a cow in here and there.
Are you?
He very much is, but you don't want to hear
it. Just wait for the Black Goat laughs, dude. It's gonna be a fest.
But I mean, that means now we are in the battle phase. We have successfully destroyed our own monster, really, there by battle. That means, though, that the August Horus deck is going to get another turn, as we are now probably leaving our battle phase next.
Totally.
And that deck has such a strong follow-up. Like, all the resources just keep on being in the graveyard. We see there is the Crescendo, which can surge. There also still is a Skeleton. So if Timo is getting his turn back, he will have a pretty good situation, especially now that Justin has lowered his own life points to 4,000 as well due to using the effect of Vengeance.
Yeah.
But Vengeance is back. Here we are.
If you have a good push and find some possible extenders, so I think that's a very lonely super polymerization in hand. That is also, of course, always rather dangerous to have or not too useful. Now, Timo, with the Crescendo in the graveyard, you can search for a Machine Dark Monster.
Look at that, look at that.
Wow, that is, okay,
That's even more follow-up. I mean, can you even call this follow-up? SP Little Knight protected
That's just a bond.
his own monsters and brought back the Enlil Gisse, which was responsible for the taking control of the Diabells, the Vengeance.
That's a full memento combo right there, and even an Enlil Gisse on top. But also, I'm quite curious to see if Timo activates Crescendo to search for the possible best extender in the Orcus deck, and that would be Gizmek Orochi, the Serpentron Sky Slasher.
Of course you would say that. That card is a card of all time
My
when
boy.
you're Leonard Koenig, yeah. Always feeling with it. Oh yeah, we're playing... I think we're playing the stamped version of Enlil Gisse there as well.
I feel
From Battle
like
of Legends.
I feel like it's going to be very difficult for Justin to win this one. Of course, there is Vengeance and there is also Ilya Sylvia on the field, but we've seen the Super Polymerization, which was set, and with no cards in hand, this is not very threatening for Timo. So Timo is just going to use the Crescendo. We are going to see right now if the best extender of the game is going to be added or not. But
I think if you already have a big field and you haven't used your normal summon yet, I think Harp Horror or another Orcus card just might do it.
Of course it is. But I think that the Orcus player is just gonna close out the game on this turn. As you said, Basti, I think that it has so much follow-up. It has so much follow-up. The Orcus strategy is very good going first, and on the third turn, there's some like other decks, like for example Draco Tail or some decks like that. you have to pay attention to the graveyard and also the cards that are banished, because you can always reuse them on the third turn, and I mean that's so hard to stop.
Paying attention is something that also is crucial here, as that super polymerization may be lonely for now, but Leo, you have talked about the Murcielago. It has a second effect as well, though, where when it gets destroyed by battle or by card effect, you get to actually search a card. A Sinful Spoils card. Doesn't really matter what card you're searching, but it would be a possible discard for the super polymerization. So that might still be the last thing that Justin is putting his fate into here in this game.
Maybe Timo needs to at some point banish it with SP Little Knight, just take it out that way. But I mean, if you don't know what your opponent has set there and you're not trying to play around a super polymerization with no cards in hand, you can see that. But Enlil Girsu was activated to take Chain the Vengeance, pop Enlil Girsu. Enlil Girsu is now going to get rid of the back row, so we're not going to get... can we activate both effects on the same turn?
Activates it, and Justin now without any cards remaining in hand. There is no window for them to activate. Oh.
What are we looking at?
The Vengeance also, again, was pretty costly here, paying another 2,000 life points, so halving your life points.
Eu concordo também, eu acho que o White Forest vai acabar ganhando, mas o Orkut de Horus está conseguindo fazer campo legal ali agora.
If there's anything I've learned in my years of Yu-Gi-Oh! Is that you don't just read one sentence of a card.
It is, it has to be sent to the graveyard from the extra monster zone, and clearly it returned with SP Little Knight, and therefore there was no opener to use that graveyard effect of Enlil Girsu. The Orcus Mech Knight here, and that's why both players currently are just looking at the judge next to them, as that was not a card effect that was able to be activated.
See, if I had read the whole card text or even just one more sentence, I wouldn't have lied to the audience.
Well, Leo, if you would have read more in your life, you would have taken it a completely different direction,
I'm happy with how it turned out, though. I'm really
sure
happy to be
are,
here on Valentine's Day at the Yu-Gi-Oh! YCS.
Same, happy to have you. But now, we're not having the effect of Enlil Girsu. Checking once again on... Oh my, we're checking. Oh no. It seems so easy, right? It seems so easy. You just have to deal 2,000 points of damage. But that sad card could still be a turnaround possibility.
So yeah, Timo is just trying to play around it as much as he can, because this is the only unknown card, to be honest.
I think if you chained SP to one of the other effects of the cards and banished the Murcielago, we would be in a good spot here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah, of course we also still have the skeleton, we have the orchestrated bubble as well.
Eu acho que agora o Orkut leva essa.
And Girsu is of course not being sent into the extra monster zone, but you can go for a Galatea, you can go for whatever you want.
Girsu is the easiest answer, of course.
Yeah.
Use the effect, send the Murcielago, and that's
It's gonna be it. Timo evens out the score right here, 1-1, but it's gonna be very scary, because for the last game the White Forest strategy is gonna go first, and to be honest, this is very threatening. The field is so strong, so strong. If it resolves, you are in so much trouble. And on top of that, there are some very good going first cards that are usually played by the White Forest players.
O White Forest começa,
I wouldn't like to play against that, because
e se ele não tomar nada, ele vai fazer uns 3 negates no campo.
I could book about that, because I still remember YC's Bologna, where he played on day 2 against Rosalie, and Rosalie really showed also the power of the White Forest deck. I'm curious whether Rosalie is actually bringing the White Forest deck again, because she always brings a new deck. It was like Banker's Soul, then the Striker deck at the World Championship, because why not try out a new deck at the World Championship, and then also afterwards the White Forest deck for I think 2 consecutive tournaments. Will it be a 3rd consecutive one? We shall see.
I think her deck box might be full of surprises that we're not going to spoil yet, but perhaps later she is still one of the best duelists in the world, top 4 at the WCS this year. But going back to another point that you made earlier, what can you do versus the White Forest strategy? There are some choke points to the deck. It sometimes struggles a little bit versus Charmies. You can still put up an okay half field. If you have going first side deck cards, of course, those are always perfect answers to the Mold Charmies, and it's not really like an Ash Blossom or a Caught by the Grave. That's your answer. It's just, I'm going to pass on nothing, and I have this absolute blowout trap card.
Agora 1-1. Pelo menos a gente vai ter uma partidinha agora maior, né?
Can be really strong. That special summons
A gente
itself
vai ter
from
que esperar
hand
aquela
and 1
meia
card from
hora
the
de
deck. That's 2
novo
summons that you're denying with 1 Ash Blossom.
até começar a rodada
Before
3.
you getting to draw the Lockbird, though, because that is the the easy recipe to step the deck. It's just a big combo deck that keeps on searching, and therefore having drawn Lockbird against this deck can just be crucial. Can be
There's one really cool thing about the White Forest strategy right now.
Oh my, tell me all about it.
The Synchro Monster, the level 6 Arciela, is the way to bridge Yami into Mitsurugi cards again, because you can actually just, with it, search a light spellcaster ritual monster and then go into Ashlan. Actually, every Synchro deck bridges into Mitsurugi. With that, you go into Ashlan, you reveal that ritual monster, and then Habakiri in hand.
The one Habakiri you need, right? It may be limited, but it still finds its way into hands. Very, very, like a routine in this tournament. Are we going to see Mitsurugi? We didn't talk about Mitsurugi at all. I mean, at the end of the day, it was in the finals of YCS. No, wait, it was not in the finals of Bologna. It was in the finals of Lille, though, with
engine as well for Jack Verma there.
But it's still pure at the end of the day.
It was very much pure. But this is Wave King.
I'm curious whether we are going to see the Mitsurugi deck at all with only one Habakiri, or some iterations of the Mitsurugi strategy, because there is plenty of ways how to play the deck. Now we got to focus on how the host players in our backup feature matches are playing their decks first, so let's go back over to the table.
And it starts very well with the normal summon of Sylvie, one of the best cards that you can normal summon in the deck.
Pelo visto não dá mais pra... Não vou conseguir fazer uma retransmissão para outro stream, porque o meu computador não aguenta. Ele peida para uma live, imagina duas.
Moment of relief, yeah, moment of relief.
Peraí que já vai voltar ao normal. E não é a live da Konami, é a minha live que tá travando.
When you have to make the decision, but there is another LZ now joining us on the field, and that is Viazamina LZ, which quickly gets synchroed off for the Diabolls.
The Diabolls hitting the field, and now, as you just said, we are going to get access to another Spell Trap card from the graveyard.
What are we?
Leo,
you were right.
You said that, you said that. And actually, yeah, we are going to get back the Black Goat Loaf. I was expecting that.
I'm really happy that we got it in the same round. I love the backup feature
Totally.
It was like it was scripted.
Tá tendo uma travaçãozinha ainda.
We'll never know.
We'll never know, but for now, what is scripted is literally the turn of Justin, because he gets uninterrupted, and this is not some good news for Timo. He was having to face the full field, going second with Orcust, and I know that the Orcust strategy is kinda weak on the normal summon. You know, you want your body to stick, but we've got a body here, because we activate the Retaliating Sea, such a strong card against White Forest, because you want to get access to the resources in the graveyard. Still, we have some cards in the graveyard right now. We have some monsters, so it's not all lost, but it might be a little bit annoying.
Hold your horses. This card might really be a big factor, because maybe we cannot even resolve the Holidays Amina anymore, right? When the Retaliating Sea is on the field, everything will be banished from now on, and I think Holidays Amina has to send cards to the graveyard, as far as I remember.
But what's going on? Because I've got a feeling that the card was sent to the graveyard, which should not be the case, right?
I think we chained the effect of Diabolls. Oh, yeah, the Holidays Amina definitely is not resolving. Yeah. There we see it. But now, we chained the effect of Diabolls, which is a quick effect, so we can also do it on our own turn. And that made sure that we summoned out the Arciela, and actually on the opening turn use the effect to put that Retaliating Sea to sleep and face down defense.
But that's very interesting, because you've got some solution, you've got some stuff to do when you face the Retaliating Sea, and I think that is very good for Justin. Now he can keep comboing, special summoning the SP. But what can you do with the last three cards? We know that there is the Field Spell, and it is going to be activated right away, which will lock us into only light monsters, if I remember correctly. But we are going to keep comboing.
Porque o dado é muito relevante no jogo, né?
We will get access
o dado é muito relevante nesse jogo.
This is pretty good, to be honest, because this is going to get
é
access to the
inacreditável que um jogo desse seja decidido apenas porque tudo em um e veio no ganho dado veio com uma mão boa. Mão que no mínimo teu deck tem que fazer. Estuda o teu deck para ele não brincar. Então tecnicamente
dealt a lot of damage to Justin himself, paying half the life points twice actually was pretty costly in the end, because Timo did not have that much steam in the battle phase. He just could deal a little bit of damage.
Aqui assistindo em... Aqui nós sofrendo assistindo em 720p, né? Só um pouquinho.
You can break, you know that there is a black gold love.
This is already very strong, having the effect
né?
to special summon from the extra deck, special summoning the Snake Eye card, the Snake Eye Synchro monster, which is so strong to put the monster back in the spell and trap zone. This is so good, and I think that it's going to be very hard to break, to be honest. Let's see what Timo has
Eu acho que agora é 2-0.
Does he have some breakers,
2-1, né?
maybe, to try to
Tem
win
muito
it
o que
all?
fazer.
He's gonna need some.
What are you side decking here on the side of Justin?
Could it be something strong? Okay, we are passing over now. Timo will have a big challenge here to go through.
Yeah, totally, and I mean, this is so scary because the first body is not gonna stay on the table, it's not gonna stay on the field, and we know that you want to go into your link plays. If you can't go into your link plays, then what do you do?
I mean, Girsu kind of solves that first monster on the field problem, right? Because it just sends the Harp Horror into the graveyard, and your opponent will have to respond immediately. I believe that is Foolish Burial Goods.
Goods, absolutely, yeah.
We've seen it in hand before. Now, what is this going to send in the Orcus deck? Are you going to send a Crescendo?
Is it going to be good?
Either a Crescendo or something like a Black Goat or something like that, I guess.
We're summoning out another Synchro? Sending Deception to the graveyard, which we got for free in the end phase. And we want to summon out. What is it going to be?
One of the new cards, the Zelene being special summoned on the field. And this card is very interesting because it allows you to add another layer of disruption to your field, and now you can negate something, but it has to be on chaining 2 or more.
Yeah, Salen the Shackled Dragon has joined the field, and as you say, just provides more. Now we haven't seen much of the Orcus cards here, but activating that Imseti here, discarding a Harp Horror is honestly super strong.
Yeah, Imseti, Mom Spaghetti, this card is going crazy every time someone tells you, hey, for my combo in my deck, you just need Imseti Hard Draw. You already know this is some gigantic combo pile. But when they actually have the Imseti, it's really hard to combat this theme of the Horus cards, because they are not only super sticky on the field, they are also okay, the Black God Loves is being called here.
We just want to change something to be able to activate the lean, to be able to negate, I think, the effect of the Imseti, because you don't want that to resolve.
Yes,
you literally don't want that to resolve. And I think this is very clever from Justin. I mean, the Horus cards are very good into the Orcus deck, but the problem is that it has to resolve. Otherwise, you just make a giant minus in your hand.
Yeah.
This is good because you get the Harp Horror in the graveyard, of course, but it doesn't feel that great.
Some speculation now, as we don't hear the players. What do you think did we call with the Black Gold Loves? As we clearly had to call the name there. We had to do it preemptively now. What are you saying?
Sangan. I think it's Galatea Eye.
Yeah, Galatea Eye. I would have said that.
Yeah.
I think this is the best choice, because you are going to remove a lot of bodies from the field. So he's going to remain with only 1 or 2 bodies. And he's going to want to go into the Galatea Eye.
However, Justin just decided to immediately SP Little Knight.
Yeah, you want to remove the bodies. You want to remove the bodies as fast as possible.
It also gives you a token if you don't answer it.
So
it's more stuff to play with, so SP Little Knight, a really nice interaction. But I mean, the graveyard is loaded. We still have a couple of cards in hand. Do we actually have? It looks like this might be multiple copies of Imseti,
which doesn't make it better. The first one got negated, really, because that King Sarcophagus could have just sent all of those Horus monsters
Vamos ver se eu vou botar 720 por enquanto e dar uma olhada nessa trabalho.
Can you summon out another Gearsu just to activate the token effect?
I guess that could work, yeah.
No, we're going for this symbol skeleton. So it kind of smells like a Galatea eye to me. I can also understand if Timo says, I have follow-up, I have a good enough field, I can call one of your extra deck monsters that tries to break my field. I can call something like the Endel Gearsu. That you can play a little bit, but I have enough resources to stop you.
We can send maybe World Legacy World Wand here that would give us 2 monsters, and then you want to have the skeleton in the graveyard to keep on going.
Yeah, okay, I can see that.
Is there World Wand coming into the graveyard? Oh, Timo is not sure himself.
Yeah.
He got to be hurrying up a little bit though, as 9 minutes is not that much remaining here on the overall clock.
Fica meio ruinzinho de ver.
Sirius is such a strong card. It's such a huge interruption.
It is almost Orcus Sirius, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's a dark machine, it fits the theme. I'll give you that, yeah. It's Orcus Sirius at this point.
And this card can now just be activated because SP Little Knight was used this turn.
Fica
so on the turn
meio...
that Link Monster's effect was activated, you can target one of your own cards and you can pop
Fica meio ruinzinho de ver, né?
Definitely correct.
So it might be able to just
Porque tem flash de luz bem em cima da carta do cara.
Summoned on the field, so all of a sudden we've got 2 monsters on the
deveriam
field and just
testar
is
isso,
not
né?
activating anything. For now we have not special summoned
Eles deveriam testar isso antes de começar a live. O cara não consegue ver a carta dele.
We have already activated the
não consegue ver a carta do cara.
Also a side
Até o cara pegou pra ler
a poll on X right now that you can vote for which deck you want to see in the coverage of the 300th YCS here in Dortmund. So go check out that, vote for your favorite decks that you want to see. Please vote for Salamangreat or something. That would be.
It's not an option. Please don't vote for Salamangreat. It's not an option.
Okay, chill.
Tri-Brigade would be amazing. Or Cyber Dragon.
Oh, that is okay. Cyber Dragon. All right, we're on the same page with power. But we have.
Cara, se ele tá resistindo é porque tem partida. Na cabeça dele tem como jogar ainda.
Vengeance is now considered as an answer. If you pop the Sirius now, is there anything for Timo to continue playing?
I think it might start to become harder and harder.
Oh, we're reading the Sirius over and over and over again as it has come onto the field. I mean, if it would be linked, it could not be destroyed by battle, but that truly not really anything to be worried about here at the moment, as it is not linked, and we're not going into battle phase here with it either, I think.
And something which is really, really interesting is also that there are 7 minutes left on the clock, and you know, slowly, little by little, we just almost reach the time limit, which might be a problem.
Ali, ó. O cara só dá pra ver se ele puxa pra dentro a carta.
It comes, and I think this is going to be the decisive factor. This card is so good, being able to special summon from the extra deck the new Snake Eye monster. I mean, not that new now, but the Snake Eye monster, the Synchro monster. And there it is. It is so good because this is going to put it in the spell and trap zone and in the bottom zone, by the way.
Just in case there may be another Phantom card.
Always.
But I mean, if there is a spot where Orcus monsters don't like to be, it is for sure the spell and trap zone. I think they can handle Monster Zone. They can definitely handle Graveyard. They oftentimes can also handle the banishments, but this zone, not really what they want to be at.
Dude, if you drop it now, that's insane.
True.
Forbidden Droplet is a card that is so used in this meta right now. Oh, we have the Foolish Burial, so if we're playing a double copy of Symbol Skeleton...
I thought it was a Droplet, I was like...
Oh, that would have been so sick.
Yeah, but this is pretty good actually, having access to the Foolish Burial. But what do you send?
O cara deu flash, tem flashzão em cima da carta do cara, acho que o cara deu
Good shout. But that is the card that I was mentioning earlier
Droplet,
that is Word Wand, which is basically the skeleton, but from the banishment. As it allows us to special summon one of those Orcus monsters back from that banishment.
I think that we have the ability to special summon a token because we didn't use that earlier. Yeah. So basically we can special summon back the Gearsu and then special summon a token.
Oh, Timo.
That would be good.
Timo is locked in. He's trying to make it happen.
But how much can you even do with it if you're going into the Galatea, the Orcus Automaton?
And remember that there was the Black Goat Love which was activated, and probably it was the Galatea which was called.
I would think so too. So I think you can go into the Galatea, Orcus Automaton, but the thing is, Orcus is an older deck. You've used up some of the power cards. One of them is not summonable
Mano,
this turn because of black
é
gold.
ridículo
So
esse
there's
negócio,
a
cara.
limited amount of pushes that you can do.
Eu não consigo ver a
Just
carta
going
do
into
cara,
the
mano.
Galatea. What can you follow it up with? Dingirsu, of course, great removal, but how are you going to close the game out?
Olha que loucura.
Through the extra deck, desperately
Ó, quando é uma
searching for
empresa
options
milionária,
here.
mano.
This is so hard. Justin is staring down
Devia
Timo, just hoping
ter
that it
tipo
ends
senso,
fast
né, mano?
because he
Bah,
does not
não é a
have many
primeira live
minutes
que eles
left
erram
here
com
to
isso.
possibly win this game. Timo checking again. Oh, maybe Galatea was caught. And now he's realizing there is nothing else he can summon, and therefore Justin's big sigh of relief there is going to win, and actually stays undefeated here at the 300 YCS in Dortmund.
Ele se rendeu, ele não tinha muito o que fazer.
Not a so easy
Ele
matchup
tentou
because
resistir
when you're
ali,
playing against that kind of a
mas
combo pile,
o que
really
o cara vai
anything
dizer?
can happen, right? If you let Orcus Horus play, they just open the world really, and they just
Orkust ganhou, né?
Another
O
Imseti
Orkust não,
attack.
desculpa,
Usually you're
o
super
White
happy
Forest
to see
ganhou.
any kind of Imseti in your hand, but if it's multiple copies, I mean, you just lost one card in hand, basically. If you have to play through a field, of course, Retaliating Sea really helped. I really like the impact that it had on the field, just taking away the Azamina
Grande
Sylvia.
White
But
Forest.
in the end, it didn't even matter.
Yeah, it
E
was
aí
very
agora
impressive
vamos
the way
rezar pra
that
não ter
he
30
played
minutos
around this
entre uma
card,
rodada e
which
outra, né?
can be
Daqui a
so
pouco o
hard to
Joshua
play
aparece de
around.
novo
The
no
way
meio
that
do
he just
evento
special
pra
summoned this
apresentar
Vera, and
bastante
after
time.
that just keep comboing, and he had so many disruptions. White Forest undefeated, 2-0 for now. We've seen some very interesting strategies during
É que
those two
o
games.
White Forest
The Elf
ele é
strategy,
muito
also the
consistente
Apophy
em questão de
strategy. We didn't see
negate,
that
né?
much of the Apophy strategy, thanks to the Denko Seika.
É complicado,
But, I
eles
think
botam
that, I mean,
2,
it's not
3
about only
negate ali
two decks during
dependendo
this tournament.
e
There are plenty
não
of
busca
decks
mais.
that you can win with, and I cannot wait to see what the surprises will be during the next rounds, to be honest.
Synchros are back on the menu apparently, right? As we, in both our main feature and on the backup feature match, we had synchro decks winning. What's next? Maybe Q-Tune coming our way now in one of the upcoming rounds as well, as that deck is certainly another synchro deck.
I think I know what's next. It's the winner's interview of the round 2 featured match of the 300th YCS here in Dortmund. So let's go over to Alberto.
É, agora eles vão lá conversar com o cara.
Thanks, Leo. I'm here with Richard, the winner of our
Esse foi
round
o
2 future
vencedor
match.
da rodada 1.
Congratulations, first of all.
O cara que ganhou
Quick
de
victory
Yumi, se eu
for
não me
you,
engano.
2-0.
Se eu não me engano.
So first of all, I want to ask you,
cara
why did
amassou
you
o
decide to
Radiant
bring
Typhoon.
Elf now to the YCS?
So, can you hear me? Yes. So, I think Elf Note is a cool concept. It's a cool concept with very high value cards. So every card makes something, every card lets you play. But the problem of Elf Note was to go second. And so I tried to draft a deck. I drafted with some friends of mine. Special shout out to Aaron, Nico, Tom, and Florian. So, and we came to the Fallen engine. And I think
É, o meu alemão não tá muito em dia, não.
And so I think it's the best version of Elf Note, and it catches people off guard.
Yeah, especially because I think one of the main factors when bringing a new deck to an event such as this one is the surprise factor. We have seen a lot of times that such decks sometimes are not so much considered by the pool of players. Because, for example, thinking about Bar's Protocol, we think Radiant Typhoon, right?
For sure.
But Elf Note, I really think it's an interesting deck because, as you mentioned, it can cut people off guard.
Yeah.
And I really feel like you are prepared looking at your deck list to play amongst the top table decks, right? If there's a deck you don't want to face, which one would that be? If there's a deck you don't want to play against this weekend, which one would that be?
I think the Yummy Radiant Pile is a very tough matchup.
Yeah.
So, okay, for sure, Branded Draco go second against this deck. It's nearly impossible for every deck in the format if you can't stop them. So, because of that, I played 20 non-engines.
It's okay, don't worry.
Yeah. So I played 20 non-engine, and I think that's a plus point of Elf Note 2. You can play 20 non-engine.
You can afford it, yeah. So for the match, I have 3 highlights because it was quite a quick match. So for the first one, I wanna show you guys at home when you make the loop with Omega. I think this is very nice, honestly. This is something that you do in general every single time you
chance
can.
nenhuma, depois o cara deu um normal sumo numa deck seca
So normally it was my first
na match
FIFA
2.
match, to be honest. So normally there's a Ecclesia 2. but I don't get it to this point. But I think normally if I start with Theorize can change the attribute and the type of a monster. So I make one of my elf node
Na
cards
primeira
dragon,
partida,
and then I can build the
ele fez um campo que negava mais para trap e feito monstro que dava sumo e tirou duas cartas da mão do cara. E aí, como joga? Deck lento.
Yeah, it's more than enough, honestly. Especially because your opponent activated the impermanence, and as you mentioned, if you can pass to the third card, he's only basically left with 2, which is great. And for game 2, I have the MVP, the Koseka, which, I mean, quite unfortunate from Andre. He didn't. He bricked essentially. Well, not a good hand from him.
Not a good hand.
And yeah, I mean, I have to say that seeing Denkoseka, it's always special. I would say.
I think I play Denkoseka because I have the possibility without normal to make a Black Rose Dragon. And Denkoseka normal into a Radiant board.
O cara saiu, o cara botou o side. Opa, bom dia, Major. Tranquilo aí, mano? Vamos embora. Dia longo de live hoje, né? Nós temos aí até meio-dia, acho que tem uns 4, 5 rounds do ICS da Alemanha e meio-dia começa dos Estados Unidos. Vamos ficar de olho aí em todos os eventos.
Congratulations, swift victory. Hopefully continues like this for the rest of the tournament. Who knows? But yeah, it's been a pleasure to see a little bit of the Elf Note deck in action, and hopefully we will get to see you again on stream with us during this weekend. So good luck for the rest of the tournament, and guys, thank you so much for staying with us. But don't go anywhere because we will be back soon with round 3 of YCS Dortmund.
To another scene introduction video. I'm here joined by
Eles chamaram o cara de novo. Vamos falar de Buster antigo?
Yeah, so Hacker Hands is all about control and using your opponent's resources against them.
Acho que não deu tempo de repente de gravar, né? Não deu tempo de gravar com Buster novo. Buster Protocol.
So these are all of the main deck
monsters. Vou te falar esses Hacker Hand aí bem interessante. Eu não tinha lido eles, né?
They are not being able to get destroyed by battle.
Yeah, that's right. Every Hacker Hands monster has that classic illusion effect where any monster involved in a battle with these cards cannot be destroyed by battle. You'll also notice that there is a mix of light monsters and dark monsters, and that really helps you distinguish what kind of effects that the monsters have. So the light monsters are really good for starting your plays, while the dark monsters are where your kind of interruptions come in.
Se eu fosse escolher um deck pra jogar hoje no meta, mas isso é mais pessoal meu, tá? Então vou te falar sem meu gosto pessoal. Vou te falar os dois. O que acontece? Gosto pessoal meu, eu iria de Dracoteio, porque é um deck mais consistente. Ele é tão bom quanto o primeiro e quanto o segundo. E tu consegue misturar com algumas coisas, Brand, Archmage, Magistos, dependendo da forma que tu joga. E até um Canine, dependendo de quantas cartas de Canine tu for colocar no deck. Agora, um Hacker Hand, cara, eu tô até lendo eles ali agora. Hacker Hand, e eu recomendo gigantescamente, e é o que eu faria jogar de Castira. Aliás, eu vou até montar um Castira Hacker Hand ali depois no Pro pra testar. Eu gostei realmente, porque eles são Illusion e acaba tapando um furo que o deck de Castira tinha, né? Eu não sei se eles receberam algum suporte para extra deck. Olha, uns bonecão bonito, mano. São uns aliens. Enfim. E aí, se eu for te recomendar um meta mesmo, hoje eu acho que o deck mais consistente para te jogar com todos os outros decks é o Radiant Typhon. Mas tem que montar ele bem montadinho, sem frescura. E Yumi, o bagulho é absurdo, né? Mas esses três SS que vai acontecer hoje é o que vai definir qual que é o melhor deck do formato até o momento. Eu tô entre o Vanquish Souls Canine, que perdeu algumas coisas, mas ganhou muitas outras coisas, que vai cobrir os furos e muito mais. O Yumi foi meio que capado, mas igual é muito forte. Precisava de uma capagem porque tava quase impossível de buscar o deck. E o Dracoteio recebeu uns suportezinhos agora de Brained, né? Eu acho que vai tornar ele muito mais consistente. Quando você ativa Spell e Trap... Cara, eles têm um Omnigate, cara. Um Trap? Não, muito forte. Vou até dar uma catada nesses Recahand, hein, Major? Vou dar uma catada neles aí, quem sabe eu não apareço pra jogar um regional de Recahand Castira.
Yeah, we have a lot of our opponent's monsters on our field at this point, and that is where our quick play spell Hackahands Tartaros comes in. Now, it's quite versatile. It has two effects. The first effect is if you control a Hackahands monster, you can simply
Não, deu uma melhorada mesmo. Porque eles receberam uma fusão e receberam um adicional que tu adiciona pra mão descartando. Esqueci o nome do boneco, mas eu montei um... Vai ter um suporte maneiro, não sabia. Eu vou dar uma olhada, na verdade, desse Recahand, porque essa box, esse formato eu perdi ele praticamente inteiro, né? Usam os bonecos, Major? 3 Recahand de monstro. Eu acredito que se for jogar de Castira, o Castira seja um suporte pro deck, mas não um foco, né? Ele é o deck, a parte que atrai as hand trap, pra te poder jogar atrás, entendeu? Joga atrás de Nibiru, em volta de Miro, né? Pode tomar uma Ashe no teu Fenrir. Não pode tomar draw, né? Acredito que seja ruim. O Magistus, eu tava falando ali, eu misturei ele com Dracoteio no Master Duel e ficou muito bom. Uma fusão que tem o efeito do Big Eye, só que ele pode bater direto. E o outro monstro que faz fusão da mão. Ah, não. Olha aí, eu vou te falar, não vai ser surpresa se esse deck aparecer então, cara. Mas essa fusão vai vir, né? Ou já tem? Que carta é essa? Ah, esses minigames da Konami aí é foda. Acertei um até agora. Ah, mas eu vou ir atrás antes que fique caro, então. Porque eu tava afim de jogar no próximo formato. Eu imaginei que seria essa carta. Por causa do pontinho vermelho que apareceu. No próximo formato eu tava fortemente pensando em jogar de Dark Magician. Por causa do suporte que vai vir agora, né? E eu tenho o deck praticamente inteiro. E saindo agora que foi anunciado os ritual, né? Então o deck vai ficar absurdo. É a nova geração do Yu-Gi-Oh! O Mago Negro vai ser absurdo. Aí, ó, falando Ó, eu tô falando, eu acho que a Konami não se preparou para esse ASS para questão de marketing. Porque essa propaganda aí do Master Duel, essa promoção já foi. Não tem mais. Paguei 400 na tech inteira. Quando vi o suporte deve ficar mais caro. Mas o suporte de Mago Negro igual esse é absurdo. Eu acho que o do Mago Negro ficou mais, mano. Não digo que é o do Mago Negro em si, né? Porque talvez pode até sim em algumas cartas de Mago Negro. Porque o Mago do Caos ficou muito bonito, mano. Ficou muito bonito, cara. Eu sempre gostei da temática de Mago Negro. Eu sempre colecionei Mago. E, cara, aquela arte estourada do Mago do Caos Ritual e os efeitos, Mago do Caos e o do Black Luster, muito absurdo. Muito absurdo. O Mago do Caos não, o Black Luster vai ser inafetado, bate 2 vezes e na segunda vez ele bate com mais 1500. Que loucura. Tu bate num, ganha mais 1500 pra bater no outro. Inafetado. Eu garanti meu deck já, né? Eu tava até pensando em passar ele. Vou deixar quietinho. Porque eu acho que eles vão chegar pra nós aqui no TCG lá por junho, julho. Já passou Nacional, já vai ter passado a ICS já.
One deck encounters the other, and it feels like you have to always be prepared for the next move and how your opponent will bring good strategies into the table, right? And in order to counter it, and it goes to a full cycle of this. So
a Konami precisava inovar, essas novas artes vão reacender mais o jogo. Cara, eu tô gostando muito. Eu não sei se tu notou, de julho do ano passado pra cá, trocou algumas direções de dentro da Konami, mas a Konami em geral. Questão do videogame e questão também do jogo aqui, o eSports, do card game. Cara, de lá pra cá o Yu-Gi-Oh! Mudou muito. Ele deixou de ser algo muito voltado pra eles. Mas o jogo, a questão de produto melhorou muito. Quando é que tu ia ver que o Konami TCG ia lançar estruturais full foil, com staple dentro, foil também, bonita. E aí agora eles vão trocar, vão começar a fazer full art, carta numerada. Isso aí vai ser uma loucura, tá? Vai estourar o valor das cartas. Quem tem. Eu nem sei se ainda vai vir as cartas numeradas pro TCG. Mas no OCG isso aí, os caras colecionam muito mais que nós lá, como comprar pão na padaria.
Essentially, like it's one of those cards you really want to see. It's one of those cards you play in 3 ofs in your deck. I feel like the deck is very difficult to counteract, especially the question is, where do you want to activate your hand traps on your opponent cards? And I feel like
eu pelo menos senti mais vontade de jogar o jogo agora com esse suporte novo, né? Eu tô bem focado no Master Duel, mas bem provável agora que no próximo formato eu volte a jogar 100% do TCG. O canal dando certo também, né? Isso ajuda bastante.
On top of my mind, there's another deck that I really liked, for example, at YCS Bologna, which was Vanquish Soul.
Vai mesmo, e você viu que vai ter carta com arte limitada, infelizmente vai ser muito difícil. Cara, e isso foi genial da parte deles. Porque imagina só, quantas pessoas no TCG colecionam de colecionar mesmo. Já de pegar carta antiga, carta de edição limitada. Aí imagina tu vender uma box que pode vir uma carta numerada de 1 a 100. Antes tu acha que esses caras que tem grana vai pegar. Vai ser mais difícil para quem for jogar. E aí, quem for procurar alguma carta específica daquele Buster que não tem nada a ver com a história, o fato das pessoas ter comprado zerada aquela box das lojas muito rápido vai sumir as cartas, até as comuns. E aí, quem for atrás daquelas cartas vai ter o direito de botar um preço exorbitante. Mano, eu tenho a carta aqui comum, 10 pilas se tu quiser. Mas, cara, acha aí então. Entendeu? Eu também até tinha voltado pro Magic, mas pretendo jogar os dois dele. E o Magic eu não manjo muito, mas tem uma época que eu fui pro Pokémon, mano. Mas vou te falar, é difícil, o Yugi é igual a crack, tá? É difícil sair desse joguinho. Mas porque também foi a infância do cara, né? Eu comecei a jogar na 4ª série com cartinha falsa, Piratation, comprar na esquina, caixinha era R$12. Tinha o deck do Kaiba, do Yugi e do Joey. As cartas quando tu via que era um papelão grosso assim, sabe? Escrito GX atrás.
Understand how your opponent is going to make their strategy in order for him to play against your field. It is how Dragotil have adapted to this strategy. So if you understand that
E tu, Major, tá de folga hoje? Vai conseguir acompanhar o dia do ICS ou... Porque igual embarcado tu tem folga, né?
Yeah, I mean, I really feel like if you want to stop the deck, you really need to think about older cards that have been released years ago. One is, of course, Invader of Darkness. We've also seen Spell Canceller, which is something that is very old. Archlord Christia, which is a card that honestly completely shuts down your opponent's special summon monster, which is huge. And I really feel like, as you
café e o efeito café já tá passando.
Players this weekend will really find a way to efficiently face decks that have been
já foram 4 horas de evento,
I would say.
Card game é igual a droga, comecei com o Yu-Gi-Oh! Pokémon na banca e depois Magic, só hoje que jogo Yu-Gi-Oh! Cara, Pokémon, ele é muito mais versátil e dá muito mais grana. O problema é tu sentar às vezes com uma criança de 8 anos e aguentar. Porque igual na local tu tem que jogar com criança, tem que jogar com novato. Não que isso seja ruim, isso é ótimo. Eu tô por enquanto de galo, esperando a operação de cemitério poço. Opa! Vai acompanhando nós, fica com nós aí até chegar essa hora, tomara que demore. Olha, eu vou te falar, tá? Acho que o evento na Alemanha vai ter umas 3 da tarde. E acho que vai ser 9 rodadas hoje. E vão finalizar o suíço amanhã com mais 2 rodadas e depois o corte pro top. E o dos Estados Unidos começa meio-dia, junto com o do México. E aí esse vai até umas 8 da noite, 9 horas da noite. Acho que eles têm pausa para almoço lá também, pausa de 1 horinha mais ou menos. Eu vou acompanhar tudo, né, mano? Acho que eu vou sair ali para tomar um cafezinho depois, vou deixar aqui rodando a Hive. E depois eu vou comer alguma coisa, mas vou ficando aqui, vou assistindo.
Because it bridges so good, and you can find access to Surek, and then you can access any Wingwix, for example, Corsair, if you want, or Edem, or any Radiant.
Mas como falei, né, eu não sei se de repente no evento dos Estados Unidos eles já não começam a fazer o marketing da Buster Protocol, porque eles estão ainda no Buster antigo, né?
Take advantage of what your opponent is doing. You mentioned 2 different combos. The one that ends on Invader of Darkness or Priestia, for example, or the other that Vanquish K9 like to play, Spell Canceller. Just to explain what we are talking about, the combos real quick, it is that Fallen of the White Dragon plus any light or dark can end into Invader of Darkness, because you synchro summon into Ecclesia, Ecclesia activates the effect to special summon Cartesia. Cartesia will activate the effect to fusion summon
O bom
Ranking
é que pelo menos a Konami ela bota os caras que manjam, não, que já jogaram, né? Qual foi o melhor deck Rogue ou foi que você mais se divertiu jogando? Olha, cara. Boa lembrança. Boa lembrança.
Brings back Invader of Darkness, and since Radiant Typhoon doesn't play hand-drops right now, it is one
eu
of those
sempre fui um cara que joguei muito,
ganhei
ganhei muita coisa, ganhei
regional,
ganhei
because I feel like it's the only deck in the current format which can afford to play field breakers rather than hand drop.
Mas
Because if
assim,
we see at the pool of the decks available,
eu sempre me diverti muito jogando com decks que não eram no Tier 1. E quase nunca joguei de Tier 1. Eu sempre procurei jogar com um deck alternativo. Black Knight foi que época linda, cara. Mas era um deck bem complicadinho de jogar, não era qualquer um que podia meter a mão. Porque tinha que manjar das zonas, né? Ou tinha que botar ali tem que dar especial summon na mesma coluna do cara. Se o cara controla duas cartas na coluna, faz X coisas. Mas o deck, eu vou te falar assim, ó, eu não posso dizer só um. Mas eu me diverti muito jogando de Spell Counter. Isso em 2008, 2009. Spell Counter foi muito divertido jogar. Cara, botar o Arcanite Magia, se eu fazer Miracle Synchrofusion. Botava 3 vezes o Arcanite, botava o Arcanite Synchron, botava a fusão, quando a fusão sai, traz o Assault Mode. Não. Tu dava Assault Mode no Synchron, quando o Assault Mode sai, tu dava o Miracle Synchrofusion no Grave. Depois, cara, eu joguei com um psíquico, esse que deu um remakezinho agora, só que lá atrás, na época do... Foi o deck que eu joguei na época do Dragon Hunter. Psíquicozinho lá, eu me lembro que eu topei um regional. O cara deu um Star Eater e na cabeça dele ele tinha ganhado. Bateu e eu fiquei com 1500 de vida. E eu sem nada na mão. Comprei. Mas ele também tava meio mal, né? Ele tava meio mal, ele fez ali, tinha tomado algumas coisas, fez Star Eater, bateu e passou. Aí comprei aquele bichinho dos psíquicos, eu esqueci o nome dele. Bota ele normal summon, efeito, paga 1000, me dá teu Star Eater, troca. Bati, ganhei, topei. Jogando de Dragon Hunter. O cara pegou, juntou as cartas dele e desceu a escada. O cara pagou um dinheirão, pagou acho que 1000 e pouco no deck, que na época era muita coisa. E vai desceu mal, desceu abalado. Me lembro até hoje aquela cena, cara. Ele no meio da partida ele tomou uma Divine Pusher num Stardust. Ele tava meio abalado, né? Ele tava disputando top 8 comigo e perdeu. E eu fui longe com aquele deck. Deixa eu ver o outro que me diverti muito jogando. Inferent. Eu joguei um SS de Inferent. 2014. Cara, Inferent foi demais. Que época boa, cara. Lembro até hoje fazendo combo infinito ali de miragem. Falou a alma. Sim, tá louco. É que a bala, né, mano? Quando o cara investe muito e às vezes dá uns azar curiosos. Tu não tá salvo de brincar. Até o melhor deck brinca às vezes. Na época ainda muito mais, né? 2012, 2013. O Dragon Hunter foi um dos melhores decks que eu já vi ter no formato de Yu-Gi-Oh! Mas era um deck que podia brincar. Sendo que, se eu não me engano, tinha uns decks meio misto de Karakuri que jogava na época. Karakuri de Arja, se eu não me engano. E batia de frente de vez em quando. Comecei a jogar Yu-Gi-Oh! Em 2015, que até então eu só colecionava. Cara, 2015 foi uma transição. Porque Yu-Gi-Oh! Ele tava indo pra um caminho em 2013. 2012, 2013. E aí ele tava indo muito rápido pra época, né? E aí eles falaram assim, cara, a gente precisa dar uma travada no jogo porque tá indo muito rápido, a gente não tá conseguindo controlar. O Zexid no auge, né? E aí, 2014, eles baniram muita coisa, cara. E o jogo ficou lento. Sendo que Spellbook era meta, junto com Fire Fist. Então era Tenki, Normal Summon, Tensu, Normal adicional, Exceed, Rank 4, adiciona pra mão, bato, passo. Entendeu? Eu vou te falar, me diverti muito nessa época, tá? E aí dali, depois disso, foi água abaixo. 2015... Eu não lembro o que jogou... Acho que foi BA, né? Viu? Ladeira abaixo. Mas BA foi um bom formato. Eu me lembro que eu tirei um Buster e não... Criaram um Penda. Verdade. Aí eles perderam a mão, né? Em 2015... Tava jogando um regional com um amigo. Meu amigo tirou um Dante. Aquilo ali pagou uns 2 decks pra nós. A gente não jogava de meta, a gente nunca joga de meta. A gente gosta de ganhar no braço o bagulho, né? Mas eu me lembro que eu joguei...
Hello and welcome to the Yu-Gi-Oh! Legendary 5DS Decks Breakdown, and here we are talking about a little bit how this is gonna change our format. Not only the TCG,
comprei 3 caixinhas, juntei e joguei. E ganhava os torneios, cara, tudo. Joguei em tudo quanto é lugar com aquele deck. É um deck que tá no meu coração até hoje. De vez em quando eu tô num grupo de jogadores de Monarca, né? E tô até hoje montando build e boto lá, o pessoal se diverte jogando online, né? Às vezes vai pra uma localzinha, topa uma localzinha, ganha uns buster. O pêndulo foi um erro gigantesco, né?
How would you be adapting those decks? So the one that stands out the most for me is the Stardust and the Synchron capabilities that you now have. So what you have the ability for within the point structure is you can adapt utilizing the new cards to not rely so heavily on the higher point cast cards like your Junk Speeder. Utilizing the brand new cards like the Full Speed Warrior gives you quicker and faster access to a much more wider range of Synchron plays, which is really, really good to focus on either a Stardust outlet
2016 eu ganhei o Black Luster Soldier.
The pure fact you have so many cool and core reprints in that one. Then if you move
Tu
over to
fala
Black Rose and utilize the brand new cards from Doom
Black
Dimension, like your
Luster
Bramble Rose Dragon,
no
your Black
Continental,
Rose
não
Garden,
sei
and
qual
of
que
course
foi.
your Rage Rose Witch, you don't need to rely on Black Garden as much, which does
Cara, o
take a bit
Yugi é
of a
muito
higher
rentável,
cost
né?
for your
Até
total,
pra quem
but
joga.
it still gives you the ability
Isso que eu
to
te perguntar
utilize
hoje,
Black
compensa
Rose
montar no
Dragon
deck de
itself,
Monarca?
and it's completely
Olha,
destructive
cara,
field
eu
power.
monto algumas builds e elas ficam bem legal. Eu achei que aquele Monarca que topou recentemente no regional, ele foi um acaso. E posso explicar por quê. Ele tava com uma deck, um deck muito focado em... Caraca, esqueci do Zaborg, Mega Zaborg. Ele tava com um deck muito focado nos Mega Zaborg. Então o que acontece? Ele provavelmente avaliou a local dele, porque querendo ou não, às vezes o pessoal olha... Tem local em tudo quanto é lugar. Então, às vezes, pode ter uma local que as pessoas não têm muita condição de comprar decks para carta. Às vezes é um país emergente, muito mais emergente que o Brasil. E o pessoal não tem dinheiro para gastar em Yu-Gi-Oh! E aí, às vezes os caras estão jogando com o melhor deck lá, é um deck tier 2,5. E aí os caras montou um Monarca e foi jogar. E deu certo. Mas ele montou uma boa build. Não vou desmerecer também. O cara foi lá, montou, gastou energia, tempo. Mas eu não montaria daquele jeito do Zaborg, porque assim... É daquele formato que tá... O Yumi passa por cima fácil. Dracoteio passa por cima fácil. Por quê? Porque são decks que podem jogar ainda mesmo perdendo algumas cartas de extra deck. Porque tem um main muito forte. Tem um main muito... Vanquish Souls, então? O deck que eu mais joguei nos últimos anos de tomar hit foi Tenpai. Bah! Tenpai foi lindo, tá? Eu falei que esse deck ia ser absurdo. Ele veio todo comum, praticamente, às vezes, né? Acho que ele veio quase todo comum. Acho que o campo veio o foil no Buster. E o pessoal não levou fé na época. Aí o cara, não, mas esse cara tá comum. Eu falei, mano, olha esses bonecos, mano. Boneco. E aí eu me lembro que aquele Synchro lá que bate 3 vezes lá ficou caro, sumiu do mercado. Até hoje, né? Não aparece mais. Era 10 pila, do nada 200, 300 conto. Oh meu Deus. Oh, mano, usar ICS gringo é isso aí, ruim. 30 minutos de uma rodada para outra. Desnecessariamente. Opa! Falando mal dos caras, os caras já estão com a mesa preparada.
2026 in front of me, I have our two duelists, Hisham Sabalil versus David Declercq-Lucet.
Vamos ver, né?
And they're ready to kick things
É a
off with
terceira
a
rodada,
die roll, so who's
já
going
é
to
pra
go
ter
first?
acontecido
Okay,
alguns
we're going to have
filtros.
Hisham rolling first there for
Já
a
é pra
7.
ver o
David is
que
going
vai
to
ser o
roll
formato
a
realmente agora,
7
né?
as well. Okay, so we're going to have to
Mas
keep going
respondendo a
on this for a
pergunta
while. That's
do
a
Bonaca,
6.
sim, compensa
And there's a
jogar
12.
local
Okay, you're going to go
e
first, David.
talvez
David is going to
regional.
go first. I'm going to hand you guys over to your wonderful commentary trio for this
Dependendo do
round
que
3
tem na
feature
tua
match.
local,
Take it
né?
away.
Thank you, Elba, for this round. We're not
Mora
a
num
trio,
lugar
we
assim,
actually
o
are
São Paulo.
a couple
Vai
of trios
jogar
here.
lá no
We have our
Shopping. Se
mascots
for jogar de
representing
Monaca, tu vai
our
ser
lovely collaboration
molestado.
with the Arty Packs for this
Lá
weekend.
todo mundo joga
If
de
any of
meta.
you guys have missed it, we have a whole segment about
Difícil
this,
achar
but there were
cara
a
lá
lot
que
of amazing products
não tem
from,
deck
you know, like
mínimo
these
1,5, tira
for
1,5,
deck
2.
boxes to actual backpacks. So
Monarca,
it's
tem
really
que
good.
jogar o fim do
This
fim.
is my little
Fim do fim do
friend
fim do
right
fim.
here that you
E o
might have
Tenpai
also
compensa
saw
ainda,
on
tá?
our welcome video and
Tenpai ali com o Sky
but,
Striker
there
dá
is
uma
also an
suada ainda,
additional
tá?
reason why we decided to bring these, you know, fur-coated friends for this round, and that is because we posted a poll on X asking you guys what deck you wish to see in action here at Dortmund live on the live stream. And well, the poll, although it's still going for a little while, was won by Fur Higher. And well, there is an undefeated player with not just Furier, but GMX Furier of all decks.
And also GMX, I think it was the pick for Ed to win the event. So
te falar,
we might
tá?
see a potential YCS winner here.
Sky Striker, eu tenho uma coisinha com ele.
Definitely an
Deck
exciting
me
way to see,
persegue há
and we'll
anos.
see
Eu
what
odeio esse deck.
Isham has come up
Odeio com o meu
with.
coração.
But to stop on the
deck
other
que-
side of the table, as we saw with Ed,
deck ele
there
faz
is
tudo.
David, who will be
Não é uma vez por turno,
representing
nada é uma vez por turno.
Mitsurugi, a deck who
O
needed to adapt
recicla
for
as
the
spell
latest changes, but it seems to
do
be still a top
Grave e
choice
ativa de
among
novo.
our contenders. And
Tu
speaking
joga
of,
com um bicho
I
só.
think we can bring up for
Não
you
usa
guys the
main
deck
monster.
breakdown
Às
for
vezes,
YCS
o cara que joga segundo
Dortmund.
sempre tem
Let's take a look at what is the most
uma esfera de
represented
Ra,
deck.
um lava-golem. O Sky Striker não faz nada.
And it is
Eu perdi muito torneio.
Here it is,
Ele nunca some. Ele nunca some, mas sempre tem um mocorão que joga.
We were expecting Dragodil to be played, but I
Tracoteio.
thought
Aí, ó.
Radiant Typhoon would have been more
Começou já a ter
represented
o
there.
filtro.
Like, I
E
really
o
feel like it's
Radiante,
the deck of the
ele é
moment.
um
Of
deck
course,
muito
Dragodil has
consistente pra
always been there
jogar
among one of the top
jogar
contenders.
contra o
Third
meta.
place, it's
Ele é
my
um
pick for
contra o
the
meta.
tournament. It's
Do nada
Vanquish
aparece
Soul,
no meta e some e
and
aparece de
then
novo.
we
Pois é.
see Mitsurugi,
É sempre nessa
Branded, Lunalight and Malice.
transição de uma
We
lista
talked
para outra
about
que o pessoal
it
fica
in
meio
our,
perdido.
meta deck,
Então o pessoal que joga com os
discussion,
decks
and I
meio
really
estranhos se
feel like
aproveita
Malice
agora
is
para
for
ganhar alguma
sure
coisa.
one of those decks to be afraid of, and I'm really curious to see also where Yumi, you know, like
Então, ó, Dracoteio Branded não é novidade de ser a maior quantidade de decks. Ainda mais na Alemanha, que é euro. Então eles não se importam de gastar 100 euros numa carta. Então, lá o Dracoteio, obviamente, ia ter uma maior porcentagem. A Giant Typhoon, pra mim, é um deck mais consistente para jogar contra o meta. Então, eu já esperava que ele fosse ficar até em primeiro. Mas segundo é o que tá na média. E o Vanquish Souls, o pessoal ficou com o pé atrás, né? E o Mitsurugi desaparecendo aos poucos, porque o Yumi levou um baita de um soco na barriga, né? Mas eu acho que joga ainda. Não é deck pra se descartar. Aqui o Radiante seria fora fã. Não! O deck é absurdo. De tree. O deck é absurdo, Major. O deck é absurdo. Não adianta tu dar kick play a qualquer momento, adiciona kick play, seta kick play. Quantas cartas kick play roubada que tu vê aí? Se contar agora.
Let's see.
A nova droplet lá, esqueci o nome. Deixou o bicho do cara uma pedra. Uma pedra no campo, parece que o cara botou uma pedra no campo dele. Não dá pra fazer nada, não pode tributar, não pode fazer sumo, não pode ter alvo, não pode ser nada. Mitsurugi contra Fahrenheit GMX, ó. Curioso, curioso. Bom demais ver esse deck, eu quero ver que esse deck vai fazer. Esse Fahrenheit aí GMX é um deck exclusivo TCG, né? Então, meu deck hoje é Dracotail com K9, mas pretendo misturar com Magistas ou Brand. É, o K9 no Master Duel hoje eu botei 13 Zuna, um K900, né, que é um que vem do Grave, um Noroi, um da que revela e cai, e a Lantern, né, que é a que traz o Grave, dando alvo, né, tem que dar alvo no Grave e depois tu traz. Mas dá pra diminuir muito e tu botar uns Branded no deck. Deixa só a Izuna e a que traz o Grave pra ser alvo das hand trap do cara. Porque o cara não vai querer tomar Izuna. E nem muito menos um 101, né? Então ele vai fazer de tudo pra te parar e tu joga atrás de Dracotail. É o que eu faço no Master Duel. Tô curioso pra saber que esse Fahrenheit, o cara tá 3-0. Tá 2-0. Provavelmente é porque os caras não sabem jogar contra. E os caras estão tomando tudo do deck. Mitsurugi é aquela jogada padrão, né? Eu tô pegando um ranço desse deck também. Que é um deck de ritual que joga uma carta só, né? Eu achei que eles iam banir ou limitar a pré-preparation.
We see an effect failure in the end from Isham, which is definitely a good choice when you're expecting to be playing against the Dracotail, and it's also pretty good against the Radiant Typhoon deck, but here I mean, this Murakumo pretty much already makes it so that you have to discard an
GMX as cartas são baratinhas. São.
Quite costly.
São, e a maioria são comum, né? Acho que a maioria são comum. Só falando que é jogar com dinossauro.
And as you mentioned, we can see that now the copies of Murakumo
eu também não sei o que elas fazem. Eu li as cartas, mas eu não sei como no contexto geral elas funcionam.
I mean, still Gallant Granite for
o cara ali de Ichan.
O
cara é fã de Sky Striker, mano.
And yeah, it is the Gallant Granite.
O cara é fã de Sky Striker, oh meu Deus. Ó, o cara tomou uma Vader. Toma.
And wow, I guess Isham really thinks that this Nibiru is detrimental to his strategy, and now he reveals to David a little bit.
Eles podiam mostrar as cartinhas de MX aqui, né? Eu quero ver o que faz. Senão eu vou ter que sair depois que acabar o jogo e ir lá catar. O que ela faz?
It's very important to have card advantage in the hand, and Murakumo just every turn taking one more card from your hand. It's very important.
Yeah, he's playing it in the main deck.
É complicado, né, mano? O cara... na verdade, cara, eu vou te falar. A carta mais complicada do Mitsurugi é a Mitsurugi Players. Assim como uma das cartas mais complicadas do Vanquish é a trap aquela. Que trap chata, mano. Eu também odeio. Ô, mano, Não tem sol, não tá calor. Que delícia de dia. Tô cobrindo o evento que eu amo. Tem uma galerinha pra curtir comigo. Tá top o dia hoje. Tá top. Mesmo que eu tenha acordado às 5 da manhã. Tá top. Galerinha que tá assistindo aí a live, não esquece de seguir nós aí, se inscrever no canal, ativar o sininho para receber as notificações das próximas lives. E curtir e compartilhar. Quando vê, tem um amigo aí que você estão lá assistindo, os caras falando alemão. Traz ele aí para assistir a live PTBR. Acho que eu devo ser o único que deve estar transmitindo em português do Brasil. Qualidade duvidosa, né? Mas tô aqui, 10 às 5 da manhã.
Fair enough. At the same time,
preguiça eu não tive.
Because you can also wait and negate the miscellanea with it.
Yeah, but it
onde? E aí, Thales? Bom dia, mano. Sou do sul do Brasil, sou de Porto Alegre, Rio Grande do Sul.
I mean, this was just absolutely impressive.
Tamo aí, né? Na luta.
Like a bit of a struggle. We are gonna attempt to stay in this. It's one of those cars you don't really want to open, but in this case, it's gonna work out fine.
It's like a monster reborn. It's okay.
Yeah.
However, Rex effect has been activated, and David of
chega
course
junto aí.
changed,
O Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG, BRD, Major, Aires. Pega um cafezinho preto aí, de preferência sem açúcar, que hoje tem play.
Here we had the,
qual o formato que eu mais odiei? Sendo sincero. Vou ser sincero contigo. Quando tu falou tava um dia feio, eu pensei, não pode ser que seja tipo, talvez seja tipo, hoje vou ir jogar o Premiere. Pô, cara, boa, vai aonde? Em qual loja de Porto Alegre? Nas Ilusões ou na Horda? Eu não me lembro onde estava, onde tinha esse torneio. Cara, eu vou ter que discordar, Major. Mas é porque eu tava do lado certo da força. Porque eu tava do lado dos Castira. E Castira fez o Charla sentar no colo, assim, ó. Vem, senta no colo do pai, por favor. Senta aqui que eu vou ensinar como é que joga. Cara, ele teve que reinventar um formato. Do nada o Book of Eclipse ficou R$100 na época. Mas não foi o formato mais odiado por mim, tá? Eu acho o formato que eu mais odiei. Bah, agora deixa eu pensar aqui. O formato que eu mais odiei muito. Pensando no formato que eu pensei assim, mano, tomara que acabe essa porra. Foi o formato do Metafon, mano. Eu não aguentava mais pêndulo. Eu jogava de DDD até na época. Meio surra. Deck de combo não é pra mim. É porque eu gostava do boneco. Gostava do anime, né? O DDD. Esqueci o nome dele. Acaba Range. Gostava dele, mano. A full. Comprei 3 estrutural de DDD. Fui jogar. E o Metafon tava no auge. E tinha vindo aquele boneco, a fusão, que destrói uma, draw uma carta. Cara, que legal, mano. O Teis vai ir nas Ilusões jogar hoje. Então, tipo assim, ó. Não sei qual das Ilusões que tu vai, se tu vai na do Lindóia ou se tu vai no do centro. Se for no do centro, manda um abraço pro Matheus. Bruxo pra caramba. Se for no Lindóia, manda um abração pro Breno. Um beijão naquele cara, eu gosto muito dele, mano. Um cara muito gente fina. Gente finíssima. Vai ser nas Ilusões, jogava de pêndulo. É, mano. Tá do lado do errado da força de novo. Pensa num deck que eu não curtia, era pêndulo e Charla. O Charla continuou rodando depois, mano. E eu tendo que inventar de jogar Castira, Rage Raptor. Castira... Até inventei um Castira Monarca na época. Joguei bem até, mas depois que o pessoal manjou, eu amassava todo mundo, até que um dia eu perdi pra Cosmos e mudei, nunca mais joguei de pena. É. Tem que existir um Grave, né, pra ele ir pro extra, né? É quando... E os caras não sabiam disso. Vai ser no centro. Manda abraço assim. Mas eu vou passar no unidade também pra pegar uns negócios. Pois é, mano. Diz que tu viu o Cláudio, eu acho que eles vão lembrar da fantasia. Cara, é que eu parei, quando eu parei de jogar um pouco de Yugi e TCG, parou de ter eventos na fantasia. Sim, mano. Pô. De repente que tu começou a jogar quando eu parei. Eu parei faz uns 2 anos de jogar TCG. Mas não por causa do jogo, por causa de motivos pessoais. Não, vou te falar o motivo de verdade. O motivo foi o 6x1. É um inferno, tá? Aí eu estou aqui hoje com vocês porque eu me livrei, me desacorrentei. Só que agora eu tô sem grana pra voltar a jogar TCG, mas eu tenho um bom deck aqui pra jogar. Aí o problema é que agora eu divido um tempo de trabalho com a minha esposa, né? Então quando eu tô em casa eu cuido do meu filho e quando ela tá em casa ela cuida. Então não tem como ir nas locais. Aí, eu joguei muito na fantasia, mano. Enviar a mão. Sou amigaço do Sandro, mano. Cara, meu bruxo. Ah, viu? Mas eu jogo desde 2008, mano. Eu peguei o auge, quando eu comecei a jogar, o Gigante jogava ainda. Ele era player. Joguei com o Marcelo. Joguei com o Marcelo, joguei com Gogas, com Kaiba. Todo mundo conhece, mano. Foda, mano, nossa, essa escala, voltei a jogar com 5x2 também. O Sandro é bruxão, mano. Gente fina. Deixa eu ver. Depois tinha que juntar uma galera pra jogar um homem, treinar e tal. Cara, eu vou deixar o link da minha comunidade no Whats. Vocês entram e a gente combina lá. Pode ser? Vou editar aqui e botar link aqui. Aí vocês podem entrar lá. Eu vou criar uma comunidade legal. Pretendo fazer uns sorteios mensais pro pessoal que curte a live, se inscreve no canal. Porque a intenção é ter um cara, gente da gente jogando e fazendo uns conteúdo maneiro. Eu acho que, além de mim e do Ângelo, daqui do Sul, ninguém cria conteúdo. Ah, o Kaiba. O Kaiba que tem o Instagram dele lá, ele posta umas coisas. Vamos, mano, e o Major, vamos marcar aí no Rio aí quando for jogar ICS aí, que o ICS tá sendo no Rio agora, né? Pois aí, mano, tô chegando aí. Tomar, eu não bebo, né, cerveja, mas dá pra abrir uma exceção, se tu for. Eu tô aqui pegando, nem sei o que esse GMX faz. Quero ver ele tirar. Ah, é que o cara tá jogando com full high, né?
I just remember that yes, Habakiri has been ritual summon because we access Little Night with Granite and Habakiri.
Pode perguntar pra qualquer um de Viamão aí, Thales. Todos me conhecem.
And the true power of Majority is not only that it has a lot of interaction, but also their field is very difficult to deal with, right? Generating
time Chain Family. Meu time tem um canal também, Time Ojama. Tá no Time Ojama, mano. Legal. Quanto a gente mete só pra assustar. Não começa. A gente posta as gameplay que a gente grava nas locais. Boa! Eu preciso comprar uma câmera também, aquelas que bota na testa assim. Eu vi que o Ângelo tá fazendo umas paradas assim. Vou te seguir lá depois, mano. Na época, quando em 2016, quando o pessoal tava começando a criar time de Yu-Gi-Oh! Lemar também, é isso aí. O Lemar é gente finíssima, tá? Ele e o Luan, finíssimo pra caramba. Quando tava o auge dos times crescendo ali, tinha Delta Team, que era o meu time, e tinha o Absolute Team,
Yeah,
que era o
and
time
here
do
goes
Marcelo.
Folgo,
E
which allows you to special summon one from
o
deck,
Bojo tava
but
criando o
the
time
issue is
dele,
we
que
don't
agora é
control
Império, né?
free
Tem até
monsters with
loja.
a different name. We will only control 2 right now.
E a gente ganhou o regional do ABC, mano. Eu fiz top 8 e o meu amigo William ganhou o regional 2016, quando lançou a Barrier.
Could have done this in Memphis 1,
Época boa
honestly.
também. Aquele regional que eu joguei.
Yeah, let's see. What's
Eu
the plan?
joguei. Oxi. Acho que eu joguei de Monarca.
I mean, I really feel like Hisham is trying.
Mas joguei Monarca
It's,
Stun.
it's very complicated to deal with this.
Ele vai me cobrar, Major, que eu jogo de anti-meta, mas é que o meu anti-meta é maneiro, né? Monarca.
However, it felt like we had
Agora vai
face for no reason.
botar Fossildina, estátua. Você tá 5, parece um amigo meu testa aqui do sul. Toda vez que eu vou jogar com ele, eu perco no tempo. Cara, baita tranca-rua, o maior tranca-rua que eu já conheci nesse país.
But still, I think it would have been better. So at least
one less interaction.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, now.
Cara, Labre é da hora. Labre eu ia jogar de Labre, mas decidi de permanecer com Castilha na época. Eu tomei surra pra Labre, é complicado jogar contra. Os caras jogam na tua draw phase, mano. Era pra ti, quando tu joga de Labre...
So as many times as you want, if a card is added from the deck to the opponent hand and you control, you can draw a card. So basically what it means is that if you get more charmed, you can set it up and then anytime you special summon, anytime your opponent draws, you also draw. So at least, you know, you get back your own share. And that makes it for an interesting, turn of events. It's pretty much the only card that does a similar thing in Yu-Gi-Oh!
Cara,
It's
ele
like then comparing the hands has the bigger
cedeu, esse boneco ele cede. Ele não dá alvo, ele cede, é estranho. Estranho demais. Tá 0 a 0, 33 minutos faltando. Foi 20 minutos de jogo. Bem trancado o jogo, hein?
With heavy slump. So you keep your own and then they only have 2 cards at the end of the day. That seems like a good deal. But this is enough. Isham has seen the writings on the wall. Good attempt at cracking the
Acho que foi
field,
o cara
but it
de
was just
MX,
too much.
né?
And I gotta
É
say,
porque o cara
again,
fez
we
um
are not
campo meio
surprised.
difícil de
We've
tirar
seen it over the past
ali.
year.
E ele
Just
tirou o
how
boneco
much,
que se tributa pra destruir uma
the
carta.
Mitsurugi variants can do when uninterrupted, and definitely one effect Vader is not gonna get you there. No.
And I mean, as we already mentioned, the deck is still there, right?
Investe no Reca Hands, mano. Que depois que tu me falou da fusão que vai vir, até eu vou jogar.
However, if you start generating advantage,
Ô, Thales, se tu estiver assistindo, acho que o nosso regional aqui é em abril, né? É um dos últimos, né, do formato. Pode ser que eu pinte por lá. Consigo um domingozinho aí, um aval da esposa. Que, aliás, daqui a pouco, né?
I think it's important to understand that although Bagheera is at 1, the deck is consistent.
De vez em quando tem que lá ver se eu ainda tô
I think he has a lot
casado.
of good starters. I think it's like,
O
for
Rai
example,
tentou
we
de
mentioned
todas
that
as
Radiant
formas e
Typhoon
mesmo
is
assim
it's super
não consigo.
explosive, but at the
Mano.
same time it lacks sometimes of consistency.
Mitsurugi é um câncer. Isso eu concordo contigo. Eu acho que faltou dar um hit na pré-preparation. Ou na Mitsurugi Players. Mitsurugi Players é muito forte, mano. Ela é muito forte. Ela é adicionável, ela se auto-adiciona. E ela coloca um bicho de 3.200 no turno do cara que te dá uma high gag.
The pure version, as we could see, if you just art
Joga
draw
aí.
the ritual, art draw, Murakumo, you can still do a lot, and it's definitely an option that we have seen top players play this weekend. But now, I think I'm really excited to see the deck,
Você já viu a
of
fusão
Isham
que tem
going
do deck de
first,
recaentes, que é 3.200 de
and
ataque? Não, não
possibly
vi.
see, this Fuvalos into drawing 15 cards of your own interaction.
Vou rezar
That would
pra
be
o
my dream,
meu
honestly.
PC não
So
engasgar, né?
let's see whether that will be the case, because our duelists are pretty much done with siding. So let's jump
Se
into
travar
game
aí,
2.
vocês avisam, tá? Eu não vou arriscar. Não vou arriscar. Ó, game 2. O cara sai de aro rápido, hein? Foi sem pensar. Quem? Ah, o cara que perdeu vai começar, provavelmente. Assim que acabar a partida, eu vou dar uma olhada nos ex-carrentes. A gente olha aí. O foda é que ele foi segundo na última partida, eu acho, né? E por isso que ele não buscou. É difícil tirar, né? Saiu sem hand trap na mão também.
I wanted to see this.
The full potential of the deck.
Yeah. And we see Ash instead. Oh, really? On the Rex and not on
Eu abri mais uma aba do Google no meu PC. Não.
Because I mean,
puxando.
Maybe we wanted to play around the normal summon of Rex, maybe.
Dá um bisu nesse aí.
Or of the GMX starter as well, the researcher. Here instead,
Meu PC praticamente falou, esse é o meu limite.
The rookie.
Até com...
And so, although the effect will still be negated, we get to special summon level 3 Few Hour Monster.
Olha, duas cartas aleatórias do extra do oponente invoca por...
I think that his summon also has an Izuna, or not? Is that an Izuna?
Eu já me imaginei com as cartas já. Eu jogo Master Duel, tô criando muito conteúdo de Master Duel e eu tô com medo de voltar a jogar TCG e deixar de criar conteúdo de Master Duel. Tô quase pegando mestre Master Duel já.
So it was there. If Fuvanos would have been activated, we would have seen
foda
it,
pra mim do TCG é o deslocamento pra loja, né?
Izuna can be pretty annoying, but it's gonna depend on Isham as well.
O cara tomou uma Ashe,
at the moment
e caso ele seja destruído, ele pega o monstro oponente no campo.
Basically, what you can do sometimes is
3.200?
you can go into the link
que ataque?
tool, then banish Rex,
Ou seja,